We will officially open this meeting of the Illinois Board of Review for today, March 25th, 2025. Several preliminary matters. The board will introduce itself as well as the other participants. We will then go through the hearing. We will ask the law department to give us a list of all matters that have been resolved and/or requests that have been submitted by appellants. For those of you who are appellants and who are participating, particularly those who are on Zoom, we ask that you consider the fact that this is a formal hearing. You need to present yourselves as if you were in a courtroom. That means gentlemen should remove their hats. If you're in a vehicle, you must be stopped in a safe place. We will not hear your case if you are moving. That's important. So in addition to that, please refrain from reclining in your chair, your bed, and you must be dressed properly. And so all those things are requirements, and we need you to comport yourselves as if you were in the room with the rest of us. Everyone other than those who need to speak in short order has been muted to eliminate background noise and other issues that interfere with the hearing. So we will now introduce ourselves, and after which we will hear from the law department. Again, I'm Kenneth Woodson, board chair.
Steve Pettit, board member.
Roger S. Tennant, senior board member. Yeah.
Ralph Pincus, board member.
Matthew Webster, board counsel.
Beverly Penn, board member.
Sorry about that, Beverly.
Philip Motto, boards administration.
Thank you very much. Ms. Penn is hearing remotely today. She's here specifically for a matter that's noted as number 44 on our hearing list today. We will have a public vote regarding HA 2024-000097, 805 South Front Street, Arthur Gibbs, DBA, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Post 8051. That matter will be voted upon today. Just so you know, we will do that because we are committed to making a public vote. So if any of you, if we're in the middle of hearing your case, but we may need to stop to vote on this and then proceed. Okay, just one moment before we proceed to the next matter. Okay, after conference with counsel, we determined we will formally read that matter into the record, and then we will take a vote. So if we read in number 44, Mr. Rowland?
Yes, sir. This is hearing appeal ending 0097, 805 South Front Street. Arthur Gibbs doing business as Veterans of Foreign War Post 8051, Robert Hirschman, Esquire.
Thank you very much. We've had an opportunity to review the notes of testimony and the other matters regarding this. Everyone present today will vote who participated in the hearing. There will not be any testimony taken or any public statements made before we vote, so we will do that now. With regard to 805 South Front Street, city affirmed.
City affirmed.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to abstain. I was not present at the hearing.
Thank you very much.
City affirm.
Okay,
City affirmed.
city affirmed. Unanimous of
We're all
those casting a
talking,
vote.
Do
it's
you want to try to
unanimous,
go
city
on your
affirmed.
phone and see if you get something out of it?
Wait a minute, I'm getting some feedback from someone.
Michael Williams.
Okay, thank you, and we had one abstention.
Thank
So,
you.
thank you very much. That's the public vote on this matter. That resolves that. Of course, if the appellants are present, as you are aware that you have every right to appeal the decision of this board, and I would advise you to consult with your counsel, legal counsel, to do what you think is appropriate. Thank you very much. Okay, I'd like to hear from the law department now on any preliminary
I
matters.
did that.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Jim Kelly on behalf of the city.
Good afternoon, Mr. Kelly.
The first matter, number 1, HA 2024-1302, 6633 Ridge Avenue, Katie Klein, moot.
Moot, okay.
Number 2, HA 2024-001 358 3402 Chalfont Drive. I'm just gonna spell it MANOJPARIKH. That's moot.
Moot, thank you.
Number 3, HA 2024-1385 2655 South 10th Street, Susan Vitale, moot complied.
Thank you.
Number 4, HA 2024-1394 7016 Charles Street, Philip Lang. That's a settlement agreement for a city affirm and a 60-day stay of enforcement.
60-day stay? Thank you.
Number 5, HA 2024-1433 1513 Race Street, Sabina Crown, moot complied.
Thank you.
Number 6, HA 2024-1439 10188 Bustleton Avenue, Bustleton Gyro LLC, moot complied.
Thank you.
Number 7, HA 2024-1444 6151 Reedland Street, Kola Ojolari, moot complied.
Thank you.
Number 8, HA 2024-1445 2655 South Eismanger Street, Nicholas Reynolds. That was withdrawn by the appellant.
Thank you.
Number 9, HA 2024-1470 6235 Arch Street, Michael Davis. That's a settlement agreement for a city affirm and a $300 fine.
City affirm, $300 fine? Thank you.
Number 10, HA 2024-1471 6235 Arch Street, Michael Davis. That's a settlement agreement for a city affirm and a $150 fine.
Thank you.
Number 11, HA 2024-1487 161 Roseland Street, Gary Slick. That was a joint continuance request that was previously emailed to the board.
Thank you. We did receive that request, and for the record, that matter has been continued.
Next is number 14 on the list, HA 2024-1490 2118 South Chadwick Street, estate of Steffi Simkin, moot.
Moot, thank you.
Number 15, HA 2024-1495 2729 West Hunting Park Avenue, Vendant Bot. That was an administrative continuance.
Thank you.
Number 16, HA 2024-15 3515 Sunnyside Avenue, Freddie Mitchell, doing business as 426 FM Properties LLC. That was a settlement for a city affirm and a $150 fine.
Thank you.
Number 19, HA 2024-1525 5634 Belmar Street, Easy Home Buyer LLC, moot complied.
Thank you.
Number 20, HA 2024-1526 8400 Lindbergh Boulevard, Eastwick Joint Venture. That was moot complied.
Moot compliant, thank you.
Thank you. May I be excused? I'm on that matter.
Okay, we should mute whoever that is.
That was Mr. Felton. He's the attorney on that case.
Oh, okay. All right,
Mr.
my
Fesky, may
apologies.
be excused since it's moot complied.
Yes,
Thank you. Have a nice day.
yeah, have a good day.
Number 21, HA 2024-1529 328 East Gale Street, Carlin Skipworth, moot.
Moot.
Number 22, HA 2024-1542 4249 Leedy Avenue, SFIG LLC. That's a settlement agreement for a city affirm and a 240-day stay of enforcement.
Yes. I'm sorry, I didn't get the second half of that settlement.
Not a problem. City affirm and a 240-day stay of enforcement.
240-day stay? Okay, thank you.
Number 25, HA 2024-1557, 2030 Grant Avenue, Piero Cargiani. That's a settlement agreement, city affirm, 90-day stay of enforcement.
90 days stay. Okay.
Number 26, HA 2024-1562, 2446 North 50th Street, Sarah Paroli. That's a settlement agreement, city affirm, $150 fine.
Thank you.
Number 27, HA 2024-1563, 5721 North Second Street, Anita Sem, moot.
Thank you.
Number 28, HA 2024-1564, 2732 North 46th Street, Sarah Paroli. That's a settlement agreement for a city affirm, $150 fine.
Thank you.
Number 30, HA 2024-1587, 1950 North Krosky Street, Betty Lupton, moot. Number 31, HA 2024-1589, 1224-36 Belmont Avenue, Belmont Investment Holdings. That was a continuance request by the appellant that's not opposed by the city.
Okay, so this matter is not opposed by the city?
That's correct.
Okay. Note for the record that this matter has been continued.
Thank you. Number 34, HA 2024-1612, 2311 North Gratz Street, Daryl Allen, moot.
Moot. Thank you.
Number 35, HA 2024-1614, 633 South Street, moot complied.
Thank you.
No, the next is number 39. This is HA 2024-1632, 1306 Callowhill Street. Appellant is International Management Consultants, Inc. I just want to clarify, this is my case. This is a settlement agreement. There's 10 SVNs that were issued in total. One of them was scheduled for today. 9 of them are scheduled for, I believe, April 8th. We settled all 10. I'm happy to read all of those numbers now, or if you.
No,
just-
only the one that's for
Perfect.
today.
Then it's a settlement agreement for a city affirm and a $2,000 fine.
City affirmed $2,000 fine?
That's correct.
Okay.
Is that fine just for this one?
Just for
case?
that one. Yep.
Thank you.
Next is number 40, HA 2024-1637, 2557 Hobson Street, David Furstein. That's a settlement agreement for a city affirm and a 60-day stay of enforcement.
Thank you.
That's all I have. I do have a preliminary matter myself, but that's all that I have. on
Okay.
this.
All right. So what is your preliminary matter?
Sure. So it's number 43, HA 2024-3483, 1427 West Wyoming Avenue, Adriano Pinto. This is a site violation notice that was issued to the owner of the property, which is Acer Group LLC. I'm not sure if Mr. Pinto is present. We had a brief conversation about a few weeks ago.
Okay, what is your concern?
It's the responsible party was an LLC. So I do believe
Okay.
you would need an attorney.
Is anyone present representing the interests of 1427 West Wyoming Avenue? Adriano Pinto. Anyone present? Is anyone, Ms. Rowland?
There's no one in the virtual room under that name, sir. No one's answering the call. The appellant's listed 608 Chestnut Street, Delanco, New Jersey. Notice of this hearing was sent to that same address on 1/29/25.
No one is responding, sir. What is your pleasure?
Seeing no one present, then the city would request city affirm for failure to appear.
Thank you. Mr. Pincus, what time do we have?
1:13 PM.
1:13 PM. We will now poll the board regarding HA 2024-003483, 1427 West Wyoming Avenue, Adriano Pinto, city affirmed, non-appearance.
City affirmed for failure to appear.
City affirm non-appearance.
City affirm for non-appearance.
thank you. Not sure what that was. Okay, let us proceed. Thank you very much.
That's all. I have.
Anyone else in the room with a preliminary matter, meaning anyone from law department?
Good afternoon, members of the board.
Hello? Hello?
This is actually the matter that I wanted to bring to the board's attention.
Okay,
Jeffrey Cohen for the city of Philadelphia.
good afternoon, Mr. Cohen. What is your matter?
If I could bring attention to number 24, which
24?
is the appeal of Jenny Nguyen, appeal ending 1554. It's my understanding that Ms. Nguyen is here over Zoom and she may need an interpreter.
Oh, there was no interpreter noted in today's file.
I think this is the first listing.
Okay, this is a violation of a cease operations order according to the appeal. Ms. Lin, are you present? Jenny Nguyen.
Yes,
Are you
I'm
present?
here.
Okay.
This is the interpreter, Mr. Woodson. I
Yes,
am here for the Cambodian person who will need assistance for
Yeah,
interpretation.
that's,
Excellent.
we understood that would be number 23, though. That's Edwin Regis. Am I wrong?
Correct, sir.
Okay, Ms. Lin, what is Ms. Nguyen's language?
Vietnamese.
Vietnamese.
Okay, and so the interpreter isn't here for Vietnamese, are you, sir?
No, sir, I'm here for Cambodian.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ms. Nguyen, do you require an interpreter to participate in this hearing?
My husband here with me, so he can help me to.
Okay,
Yeah.
that isn't permitted. We need to have an official, a licensed interpreter to handle those things. So your family member or others or friends can't provide that service in a hearing of this sort.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can. Yeah, I will try my best. Yeah.
Well, no. The lawyer for the city is concerned that you are able to represent your interests and have a fair hearing. And so if language is a barrier, we want to have an interpreter who can provide you with the appropriate assistance, which means that we would need to reschedule today's hearing.
And that would be the city's request.
Yeah,
to
the city is
continue for-
requesting that we reschedule today's hearing so that we can have an interpreter present to assist you.
I paid the 2005 last
Okay, so
time.
no, ma'am, that's not what we're doing. We're asking you if you're able to represent yourself fully
Yeah,
in
I think
English.
Yeah, I can. I
But
can
you
represent
said,
myself.
but you weren't certain of that, and the city's lawyer has raised an issue. He's concerned that, given his communications with you prior to today's hearing, that you may need assistance.
I think I can understand you and answer.
Okay, let's do this. Just gonna go off the record just for a moment. Excuse me. Regarding number 24, Ms. Nguyen. Ms. Nguyen, we have a question for you.
Yeah.
What role does your husband have regarding your business? Is he part of the ownership of the business?
He not the ownership, only me and my mom.
Okay.
But yeah, but he
Okay.
helped me a lot, so he like he on my,
Understood.
yeah, he on my
So,
side.
Miss-
He speaks
Miss-
English good too. That's why I always ask him to sit here with me.
Okay, Ms. Nguyen, I understand your desire to resolve this matter as quickly as possible, but our hands are tied in this matter. We're going to reschedule this and get an interpreter for you because you aren't able to fully participate without an interpreter. It's for your interest as well as the overall interest of the proceedings itself. We don't want to create a problem for you. So we're going to reschedule this as quickly as possible, and we will have a interpreter available to assist you. Okay?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. That matter should be noted as continued to secure an interpreter.
Thank you, members of the board. I do have one additional matter.
Yes.
Number 42, appeal ending 1688, appellant Albertas Babinska. He had submitted a continuance request yesterday, which the city opposed. Is he present?
Albert Babinskas. Okay, come forward, sir.
Hello, I have a question. Like, so,
No, ma'am. No. We moved on to another matter. So you're gonna have to call the administrator's office if you have any additional questions, okay?
okay, so
Yeah, you're excused for today. Okay, alrighty. Can you restate your position, Mr. Cohen? Yeah.
As a preliminary matter, the city opposes a continuance because this is an incredibly untimely appeal, filed 6 years and several months too late from a 2017 notice of violations. Additionally, the notice of violation was issued to the previous owners of this property, Sheila Presley and Belton Pritchett, which means that Mr. Babinskas, the subsequent purchaser of the property, does not have standing.
Has the violation been reissued?
Yes.
It was
and
reissued to the current owner, Mr. Babinski?
Yes, I believe it should be going out in the mail today.
Ah, okay. So, Mr. Babinski, would you, the appeal that you've submitted was to a different party, not to you, correct? Oh, you hit that button?
It appears so.
Yeah, so what's going to happen, it may seem like an unnecessary paper shuffle, but it's important that the proper person be cited and that person present themselves for the hearing. So when you receive the violation notice, then you can submit an appeal on that violation, okay?
Yes.
Okay, so for today's hearing, that matter, I assume, would be moot, right?
I believe it technically should be dismissed, either for untimeliness or lack of standing. I think that's the proper way to dispose of it.
Okay, given that Mr. Babinska is here, just 1 second. Basically, based on the record that we're reviewing, we will dismiss this appeal for lack of standing. And sir, when you receive that violation notice, you can refile your appeal.
Thank you.
Okay,
And the notice will contain instructions on how to do so. All right. Thank you, members of the
You're welcome.
board.
anyone else present have any preliminary matters?
Good afternoon, Board. Caitlin Carmody on behalf of the city.
Good afternoon.
I'd like to draw your attention to the case with the interpreter number 32, HA 2024-001602. This pertains to 5901 North Water Street. Appellant is Simon Tan.
Okay, before we proceed, then I need the interpreter to identify himself and be sworn.
The name is Benjamin Minard, and I am the Cambodian to English interpreter, sir.
Thank you. Would you raise your right hand, sir, so that you may be sworn? Do you swear or affirm that you will faithfully translate from Cambodian to English and English to Cambodian the proceedings regarding 5901 North Water Street?
I swear I will, yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much. So from this point forward, sir, would you translate whatever's spoken in English for this current matter?
Nangai chapteng PLN ng maprayabay tengon del jaw krom ko naknakaban ng niye ng niye chipi sakmai pong how chipi sa ongle pong dai.
Ms. Carmody?
So by way of background, the city requested an interpreter as appellant had indicated to myself that he has limited proficiency reading and I believe writing in English, although, oh, sorry.
Nangai do sa cha karnai ni ku min kapipak nong kan niye pi sakmai ko ban some numpo ao min nagbok prai na may yulch ba piabay tengon ng traniye damado.
We did communicate on the phone, but I requested the interpreter to make sure there weren't any gaps in communication.
Nangai dishne yung man niye chimoy knie chi sang le man tai na mai twa ai prakot hak min ka kwakha chi pi sakma yung ban some nagbok prai manek na mai tu bok prai avay tengon ng traniye tngai ni.
Appellant has since obtained an attorney, Mr. Douglas Stern, who is here today.
Yes, so for the record, Douglas Stern, and I have Mr. Tan sitting to my right.
Okay. All right.
Nangai
Interpreter?
dishne yamin nemi TV ku look thern and ng fuchi nek dom ng machakaranay dai.
Okay. Is the city and the appellant prepared to proceed today?
Ta tikrong chang niye kung pikaranay ni tngai ni te.
It's my understanding that Mr. Stern would request a continuance that the city does not oppose.
Yes,
Nangai
that is
dishne
correct.
Wait.
nuk
Mr.
thern ng yul prom ao yung banto niye kniya ka banday.
Mr. Stern, your response?
Yes, we did email prior to the hearing. That's myself and the city, Ms. Carmody. So I am asking for a continuance. We're trying to work out his tax issues so he can get his rental license. He's got multiple accounts. I gotta find out
Okay.
why they're
Just
not
give
all.
the interpreter time to catch up with you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you very much,
We're
Mr.
just asking
Wilson.
for a continuance to work out his tax problems,
Okay.
so he can get his
Nga
rental
nga.
license.
Nga yan naman some ao di chia. Panto ay min ka picarana ko. Picarana karnay na might ay prakot kanya ang dosray ba niya hapon ng tak dahil min knong karnay ni pong dahil.
Ms. Carmody, are the city is not opposed to that continuance request?
Correct, Mr. Chairman.
Nga just na tikrong ko man prochang ng kabanto ni ye karnay ni dahil.
Okay, based on that request, we will note this as continued.
Nga just na daw it fatam sam nam po ni ng ni ye karnay ni ng trabanto dahil.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. And
Mr.
I'll-
Stern, you and your client are excused. This matter is resolved for today.
All right, I'll
Nga
email an entry over to the board just to make sure I'm the attorney of record.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Nga ito siya Stern ng metibi ko o kunchan ng yung niyeta panang te. Mr. Woodson, this is the interpreter. Would you still need my services?
No, I believe that's it for today, sir. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you very much for your services. Kunchan mo po on brase ba ka para po yung sam chumli play.
Thank you. Okay.
Good morning,
Good
board
morning.
members, or good afternoon. This is regarding number
Put your name on the record, please.
John Wazork on behalf of the city. This is regarding number 13 on the list, appeal ending 1489 for the property located at 4510 Linmore Avenue. The appellant is listed as Anna Neal. But the notice or the site violation notice went out to a corporation, HAS LLC, I believe. So I was just wondering if anyone representing the corporation is present. Sorry, it was HAS Investment Partners LLC is the responsible party cited on the notice.
Okay, is anyone online or in the room representing the interests of 4510 Linmore Avenue? Anna Neal or anyone representing the interests of AJS Investments LLC? Anyone present?
There's no one present in the room with that name, sir. The appellant Anna Neal listed 426 South 44th Street, Philadelphia as her address. Notice of this hearing was sent to that same address on 1/30 of 25.
Thank you very much. What time do we have, Mr. Pincus?
1:27 PM.
1:27 PM. What is the city's preference?
The city would request a city affirm for failure to appear.
Thank you. We'll poll the board regarding HA 2024-001 489 4501 4510 Linmore Avenue, Anna Neal, city affirm, non-appearance.
City affirmed for failure to appear.
City affirm non-appearance.
City affirmed for failure to appear.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, board members.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon. May it please the board, Leonard F. Reuter for the city of Philadelphia.
Good afternoon.
Just one matter here. I was contacted by the attorney on number 31, HA 2024-001589, 1224 to 36 Belmont Avenue. The attorney, Adam Nakmani, we had some discussion about this case. He was requesting a continuance. The city has no objection. He did indicate earlier he was having a little bit of difficulty logging in, so I don't know if he's here, but I can provide the email.
Okay, well, the board did review that request in executive session. And
For 31? Okay.
yes, for number 31, and we needed to get your response on the record. So based on that, we will note it as continued.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All righty.
And
Anything else?
yeah, I just wanted to, I believe the number 15, just to confirm that was also administratively continued.
Yes, that matter is also continued.
And lastly, about 11 o'clock this morning, I received an email from the appellant for number 23, HA 2024-001550, Mr. Edwin Regis. He had reached out and essentially indicated that he didn't know what this was about. I simply responded and said that this was his appeal, and I couldn't really advise him as I'm counsel for L&I in the matter. I did copy Messrs. Motto and Wade and indicated that he should reach out to them if he had additional questions about how to get into the matter. I don't know if he reached out to them.
Okay, well, he's scheduled for today based on his appeal. Is Mr. Edwin Regis present? Anyone with that name present in the waiting room? Anyone present in this room now? Okay, this is regarding 425 North 61st Street.
Correct.
Okay, can you confirm service, please?
Yes, sir. Appellants listed 341 Edmonds Avenue, Drexel Hill, PA in their appeal. And notice of this hearing was sent to that same address on 1/29/25.
Thank you very much. There's no response. Mr. Rado, what is your pleasure?
Yeah, and again, given that he did reach out to me, he clearly did receive the notice of the hearing. It's his appeal. So the city would ask that the matter be marked city affirmed for failure to appear.
Thank you. Time, Mr. Pincus?
1:31 PM.
1:31 PM. We will poll the board on HA 2024-001550, 425 North 61st Street, Edwin Regis, city affirmed for lack of appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed for failure to appear.
Thank you very much. That resolves that matter. Anyone
Thank you.
else in the room have a preliminary matter?
Caitlin Carmody, for the city once again, apologies board. As soon as I sat down, I got another continuance request in my email.
Okay,
This is from the appellant for number 41, who is on the call, HA 2024-001-638, 750 Landis Street.
okay. Mong Chung, is that the name?
Yes, he is on the call. At least he was.
Well, sir, Mon Chung, would you make yourself known to the panel? That's CHEUNG regarding 750 Landis Street.
He was on the call. Okay.
Okay,
The appellant sent me an email about 4 minutes ago requesting a Cantonese interpreter, which is the first I had learned of the need for it.
okay. So you need a Cantonese.
That is what he indicated over email, yes.
Okay. What is the city's position?
I have no objection to requesting an interpreter. We had emailed previously.
Okay. Based on the record, we will note this matter as continued to secure a Cantonese interpreter.
Thank you. I would just ask that my witness for this matter, Inspector Diotti, be excused if this is his
Yes.
only matter for the day.
Any witnesses present for this matter are excused.
Thank you very much.
Okay, have a good day. Okay, is anyone online? Please use the raised hand sign so that we might respond to your need for a preliminary matter to be resolved. I don't see any raised hands. Therefore, we will.
Sir, excuse me. I'm not sure how to raise my hand, but I'm an attorney. I just was retained on a matter. And I wrote to Mr. Richard Wade asking for a continuance earlier today.
Okay, which matter is that?
This is ending in 2618. That's the calendar, the last 4 digits of the calendar number.
What's the name of the appellant?
It's Gladys Williams.
Gladys Williams?
Yes.
Just one moment.
Thank
Who's
you.
representing the city in this matter?
That's number 38, sir.
It's number 38.
Caitlin Carmody on behalf of the city.
Okay, Ms. Carmody, have you had an opportunity to speak with Mr. Williams? Michael?
I have not. When I attempted to send exhibits to the board, I received a bounce back email from her email which she provided. I tried again and it still didn't go through. And I've not had the chance to speak with an attorney prior to.
Okay, I'm wondering, would it be helpful for the two of you to have a conversation? Or should we proceed with this request for continuance?
I don't have any objections to a continuance. Mr. Vaccaro and I could discuss maybe potential settlement or how we'd like to proceed before the next listing.
Oh, So my name is Williams. I'm
Oh,
Mike.
Williams, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Looking at the wrong attorney.
Okay, Mr. Williams, just for clarity's sake, are you related to Gladys Williams?
Correct. That's my mother.
Okay, alrighty. So in this instance, you've been retained as counsel for your mother in this matter.
Correct. I just found out about it about an hour or two ago. I just got it.
We're not able to see you on the
Oh,
screen.
here I am. Here I am. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, any position, Ms. Carmody?
I have no objection to a continuance.
Okay. Note this matter is continued. That would be helpful, Mr. Williams, if you connected with Ms. Carmody to potentially resolve this matter before it's rescheduled.
Yes, absolutely. Counselor, may I have your email or your phone number, please?
Sure. My email is my first name, CAITLIN dot
CAITLIN
LIN dot CARMODY at phila.gov.
May I have your phone number as well?
215
Yes,
683
yes,
0365.
0365. Okay. Okay, I will email you and get in touch with you about resolving this matter.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
May I be excused?
Yes. You
Okay,
excused. Are
thank you.
any witnesses here who need to be excused, Ms. Carmody?
Yes, Inspector Martin Raudenbush.
Rautenbush?
Say
Okay,
so.
you excuse. At least from this matter, I don't know if you're here for other matters or not, but at least when this matter is resolved. Oh, he's here for other things, okay. Anyone else in the law department? I have Mr. Vaccaro, you've raised your hand. Which matter are you representing today, Mr. Vaccaro?
Good afternoon. May it please the board. I'm Joe Vaccaro, representing 2655 South Juniper Street. It is a matter with attorney Kristen Patchell.
Okay, just one moment. Allow Ms. Patchell to join us.
Good afternoon, Chairman Woodson, Kristen Patchell for the city.
Good afternoon. Okay, Ms. Patchell, did you have that as one of your matters for preliminary consideration?
I don't, but Mr. Vaccaro can raise what he.
Okay,
would like to
Mr.
raise.
Vaccaro, what is your issue?
Yes, thank you. This is our first listing. This is our, I'm sorry?
Oh,
I'm
nothing.
sorry, I just heard some other voices on the line. I'll just start again. This is the first listing on this matter. We're requesting a continuance of this matter. Some of the violations have been complied, some are still pending, and my client's in the process of getting into compliance with the balance of the violations. So I would hope that by the next time, the balance of the violations would be complied with, and I would hopefully be able to enter into some sort of a resolution with the city. I do have.
Ms. Patchell, let me hear from Ms. Patchell.
Yes, good afternoon, members of the board. The underlying notice of violation for this matter was originally issued in October of 2023. One of the violations that's still outstanding is for the presence of lack of a sidewalk license for a streetery. This establishment has a large canopy and tables and chairs that are blocking almost the entirety of the sidewalk, at least on the right-hand side. This appeal came from the appellant as a request for an emergency hearing back in April of 2024. So this is almost 11 months later. The city does not feel that it's appropriate to continue this for compliance. We are here today just to see whether the intent to cease was properly issued. And the city would argue that it is. I mean, at this point, without getting into too many facts, the appellant has only started to finalize the application for the streetery license or the sidewalk license as of last Friday. So the city would ask to proceed, but we'll of course defer to the board.
Mr. Vaccaro, are you prepared to proceed today?
No.
Okay, that's a serious issue for you and your client. This is an old matter. It's not a simple matter. When were you retained by your client?
Well, I was retained around the time that I had filed the emergency appeal.
And that was a year ago, nearly.
Was that a year ago? I'll have to check the,
Yeah, I guess I'm asking, why aren't you prepared to proceed today?
well, like I said here, the client is still not in full compliance.
Well,
Some
but
of
that's
the-
not relevant to having a hearing that you submitted an appeal for.
Mhm.
Compliance, once you comply, that matters, but if you haven't yet, that's no reason to ask for a continuance. So I just need to hear from you a valid reason for a continuance. Basically, that since you've always been involved in this matter, you aren't new to this.
Oh, it's our position that this is a valid reason for continuance, especially given that this is the first listing of this matter. We'll certainly accept the fact that the board would issue this as a must be heard at the next listing.
We're going to go off the record for a moment. Mr. Vaccaro and Ms. Patchell, this hearing grew out of a request for an emergency hearing, which was granted by this board. Now we're here based on an appeal and the appellant is not prepared to proceed. We find that to be unacceptable. So we're prepared to move forward today. We will call this matter in regular order. Mr. Vaccaro, I suggest you either have a conversation with your client and or Ms. Patchell before this matter is called, because we will call it up today. Your request for continuance is denied.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Patchell, do you have anything else?
I don't have anything further.
Thank you. Let's move on. Anyone else have any preliminary matters? No, I don't see any hands raised. Therefore, we will go to the regular list and see what else we have today.
Brings us back to the top of the list, sir, number 12 on the list. Hearing appeal ending 1488450 Hermit Street, Barry Grossman.
Yes.
Okay. Who's representing the city?
Good afternoon, members of the board.
Just one moment. Okay, please proceed.
Jeffrey Cohen for the city of Philadelphia, here with Martin Higgins, supervisor from the CLIP, Community Life Improvement Program.
Okay, is Mr. Higgins in the room or is he on
He is here over Zoom.
virtual? Okay. All right, what about the appellant, Barry Grossman? Is Barry Grossman present?
Yes.
Okay, all righty. Mr. Grossman, would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Grossman, before we proceed, what is your relationship to 450 Hermit Street?
I own the property.
Anyone else's name on the deed?
No, I don't have the deed in front of me, but I think it's just myself.
Okay, thank you. Okay, your witness, Ms. Cohen?
Yes, if Supervisor Higgins could turn on his camera and unmute himself. He must have stepped out just momentarily. If it pleases the board, we could proceed with Mr. Grossman's side of the appeal first.
Well, we normally hear the city's position first before we hear the response. Are you prepared to, Ms. Cohen, to proceed today or not?
Yes, I can at least lay out the city's position in an opening, but I
Okay.
do need the city's witness to actually enter the facts into the record.
Okay, do you need want us to pass this matter so you can connect with your witness to see where he is?
We can put this temporarily on hold, yes.
Okay, so, because I don't want there to be unnecessarily inconvenience, Mr. Grossman, he's here and ready to go. And so, let's do this. We will pass this matter and come back to it. Let's go down to the next matter, and then we will come back to you.
Excuse me,
much.
gentlemen.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I have I have to get an infusion at HOP.
I'm sorry, what time do you have to leave?
We need
I had to leave.
Wait a minute,
20
I
minutes.
got two voices. Mr. Grossman, what time did we leave?
20 minutes ago to get there in time.
Okay, so we can't accommodate 20 minutes ago, sir. So what time is your time that you have to leave?
Now.
I have to leave now. I'm late as it is.
Okay, if you have to leave now, we're gonna have to reschedule this matter.
I think that's probably best.
Okay, if you have a medical procedure on the day that you have a hearing, I would recommend that you ask for a continuance because we can't control the schedule that closely to meet your medical needs. which is
If I
important.
would have known my 12:30 appointment wouldn't be until now or later.
Well, this is how it happens. You may in fact not go on until 5 or 6. So what I'm advising you that going forward, that if you have a medical appointment on the day that you have a hearing, re-ask for a continuance,
Okay,
okay?
but sir, I have medical appointments. 3 out of
Well,
5
you may need to
days
get
a
a
week.
lawyer to represent you. Okay, so we're gonna continue this matter. Okay?
Okay.
The HA 2024-001488, number 12, 450 Hermit Street, Barry Grocery. We're gonna continue this matter and reschedule as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, members of the board.
Okay, what's our next matter?
Is item number 17 on the list?
Okay, you need to turn your mic on. Oh, it's going. Oh,
Item number 17 on the list, hearing appeal ending 6836 New State Road, Julio Muenz.
okay. Is Mr. Julio Munoz,
Yes.
Muniz. Are you present? Okay, please come forward, have a seat.
And if I could have Inspector Martin Rowdenbush come and join.
Okay, thank you. Just pull up in one additional chair. Mr. Munoz, would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God? Thank you. Would you push that button, sir, so you activate your microphone and pull it closer to your face? It moves, so you can pull it closer to you. Hear me? Yeah. Thank you. Ms. Rowdenbush, would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? You need to speak into the microphone. Turn the microphone, it swivels. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
I do.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's go and let's proceed.
All right, if it pleases the board, I'm going to share on my screen the exhibits that have been previously emailed to the board and to the appellant.
Okay,
And this is the version that I emailed this morning that does include that extra photograph taken by Inspector Rowdenbush. Now, Inspector, have you, in the course of your duties, reviewed the records for and visited the property at 6836 New State Road?
Yes.
If you could speak closer into the mic, just in case. Scrolling down in the city's packet to page 2, what is this document that I have on the screen?
That is the violation notice and order to correct.
And for the record, the highlighting is not in the original, it's been added for emphasis. To whom was this notice issued?
The gentleman, I don't have, Julio Munoz, is that how you say it? Julio Munoz.
Munoz. And when was this notice issued?
April 19th, 2024.
When did you inspect the property at New State Road?
I'm sorry, it was the date of this, I'm having trouble reading it up. Is it 4/19? Yeah, 4/19.
Sorry, if you actually need, I have the copy is here.
Inspection was done on April 18th, 2024.
And who did that inspection?
I did.
I'm actually going to scroll down in the packet to, excuse me, here we go, page 9. What are these photographs that are listed as Exhibit C3?
That is the front of the property.
What is visible in this photograph on page 10?
That is just equipment inside with the fire extinguisher hung up, different equipment used for cleaning, maintaining vehicles.
And the next photograph on page 11?
That's a picture of the inside the shop showing multiple vehicles parked inside with the tools, the jacks, a lift.
And is one of the vehicle's hoods open?
Yes.
And what is this photograph, which has been redacted on page 12?
That was a registration for a vehicle with Mr. Munoz's name on it.
And who displayed that registration to you?
Mr. Munoz.
Scrolling back up to, starting on page 2, what were the violations, if any, that you found on April 17th of 2024?
One was to obtain a certificate of occupancy. There was a use permit that was issued for a repair garage on November 7th of 2019, but a certificate of occupancy was never applied for. The fire extinguishers had to be inspected and tagged by an approved company, and a vehicle repair license needed to be applied for and issued.
And was there a fourth violation listed
Can't read this.
at the bottom of the second page?
Can't see the- Yeah, if you make it larger, I can't see the screen. Oh, and have fire alarm inspected and certified.
And when was the last time that you were at this property or reviewed the records for this property?
I reviewed the records this morning before I came, and I made an attempt for an inspection last Friday. I believe that was the 21st of,
Was it, did you go to the property on March 11th?
no, that was another inspector.
But are these photographs fair and accurate photographs of the property that were saved in the Eclipse system by that inspector?
Yes,
And are these photographs starting on page 18, photos kept in the ordinary course of LNI's business?
yes,
And are the cars that are here in this photograph on page 19 the same cars that were on either of your previous inspections?
tough to tell. Didn't look at the specific cars.
Well, if you compared, for example, the photograph on page 17, which shows, I think, a back of a white truck and a gray car, you take a look at 17 and compare it to 19, are there different cars in this photograph?
They look similar.
Well, what about the black SUV right out front?
I believe it's the same one. It looks similar.
And this red truck?
Once again, they look similar. I didn't pay attention to the exact vehicles.
Have you searched for any business licenses for this property?
Yes,
Are there any current and active licenses for this property? I'll
No.
make this bigger. This is page 13 in the packet.
yes, no.
When was the last auto repair license issued for this property?
Yeah, you gotta make it a little larger.
That better?
Yeah, effective, it was November 24th, 2021.
And did that expire in 2022 in November?
Yes,
Have there been any auto repair licenses obtained since then?
no,
Has there been any application for a CO, an administrative permit or building permit since then?
no.
Is that on page 15 in the packet, is that the only permit that has been issued for this property since the Eclipse system was adopted at least?
Yes,
And this electrical permit? Moment. What is the scope of this electrical permit that was issued in 2021?
to replace 5 exit signs, 6 emergency lights, 3 pull stations with no additional wiring.
So it wouldn't cover the installation of a fire alarm system?
It just mentions the 3 pull stations, not the full system.
And in your review of the records, was there any certification since the notice of violation was issued for a fire alarm system?
Yes, there was.
What was the date?
I don't have the date with me. That could, I complied the violation previously.
Okay. Has there been any tags or certifications of fire extinguishers, to the best of your knowledge, since the NOV?
I have not been able to gain access to verify.
And has there been any certificate of occupancy or auto license issued to this property since the NOV?
No,
The city would then enter its exhibits packet as in the entirety into the record, just noting that the exhibit C2 is a copy of the appellant's appeal.
Okay, so noted. Okay, Mr. Ruiz, do you have any questions for Mr. Rautenbush based on his testimony?
No, sir.
Okay, you can give your testimony in a moment, but just want to make sure to see if you have any questions for him. Okay, thank you. Any additional witnesses, Mr. Cohen?
No, the city rests.
Okay, all right, sir. Mr. Wentz, give us your understanding of what's going on here.
I use the place for storage, and as you can see, the dates that were applied for them fines, I was not in there. I have proof of the lease when I moved in.
Okay, I'm not sure I understand. This
If you look at
is,
the violation dates, they say 2000 what? Not 20.
I mean, this is your appeal.
No, right, exactly.
So
The
we need
violation
you,
dates- the violation dates are not accurate.
okay, let's back up a bit. Would you, Mr. Cohen, would you put that violation up again? And so, Mr. Mears, how's that building being used?
Storage,
For what?
cars,
Automobile storage?
yes.
Are you doing any active repair
No.
for the general public?
No, sir.
What kind of license do you have for that storage? Do
I
you,
have no license at all, sir.
so you don't have, you aren't licensed to store automobiles there?
No, sir.
Okay.
I apologize. I didn't realize you needed a license to store.
So all those vehicles that are parked out front,
They're mine. If you run the tag on every one of them, they're mine.
okay, what business are you in?
I know business.
So you use all those vehicles for your personal use?
Yes, sir.
And what about the vehicles that are on the interior that was noted in the inspection?
I have titles for every one of them.
That's not the question I asked.
Okay, so yes, they're all mine.
They're all your personal vehicles?
Yes, they are, sir.
Okay, all right. Now, based on this inspection report that noted, the date of notice is April 19th, 2024. And the inspection was conducted on or about the 18th of 2024. You're saying you weren't around? There was,
No, I was around for that, but
Yeah.
Uh,
like I said, look at the violation. This is 11/17/19.
no. What I'm saying is on that April 18th date,
Yes, I was there.
okay, and the matters that are noted here is that a vehicle repair license was a violation, and your position is that this is not a repair.
I never applied for a vehicle repair license. I never.
Well, that's the violation that you haven't.
Okay,
The
so I-
allegation is that you are repairing vehicles.
Okay, sir. I understand what you're saying there completely. But the violation is for 11/17/19 for auto repair that was there before.
Where do you see that 11/17 on this violation notice?
On your screen.
Yeah, it says on April. It's not scrolling now. Yeah, but it's saying that a use permit was issued on 11/17/19. That means that either you or someone had submitted a use registration permit and obtained it in 2019. Okay. But did you own the building at that time?
Sir.
When did you acquire the building?
I didn't acquire the building. I'm a renter.
So when did you start renting the building?
23, December of 23.
Okay.
2023.
Okay, so let's go back. The violation notice, read from the top, obtain a vehicle repair license. Your position is that you are not repairing vehicles at that location.
Exactly. And I appealed this for the reason that the fines that they're trying to put on me are for that date that I'm telling you. That's the only reason I appealed it.
But you're misinterpreting the document
Okay,
itself.
so then I need a lawyer then, because I don't understand.
Well, okay, that may be true, but I guess we're at the hearing today. And so the issue here, let's go down and finish. Well, let me do this. Mr. Cohen, he's indicated a need for legal counsel. Any response to that?
He is personally the owner of this, or sorry, the operator of this business, not the owner of the property. So he's not a corporate entity. He doesn't need legal representation, and he had about a year to hire legal representation if he had wanted to do so.
Yep. Mr. Mears, why didn't you do that before you came today?
Because I felt as though I didn't need an attorney because like I said, I have proof of the day I moved in. The fines that are purchased, are on there are not dates that I.
That's only
had.
one item, though. Look at the other items
whole
that are
item.
also
Okay, so
violations.
the new violations that I just got, that you're supposedly that I'm being, is for having the hood open and the jack. Those
No.
are tools.
The violation, the first one is whether or not you're operating a auto repair business.
Which
That's-
I'm not.
Okay, but that's based on the photographic evidence of the equipment inside the building, as well as the tools inside the building, and the number of cars that are both in the building and parked on the sidewalk would suggest otherwise. So that's why you potentially received the violation notice. Now, look at the other violation notices in terms of the fire extinguishers and other things.
Well, I have them updated. If you need proof of that, I have it on my phone.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, the problem, of course, is that the inspector wasn't able to gain access. Let's do this because I want this to be a productive hearing. So we're gonna go off the record just for a moment. Just a couple of questions for you, Ms. Munoz, and other panelists may have questions as well. Do you have a license to store vehicles in that building?
I didn't know I was required to
Okay.
purchase one.
All right, so you don't have a license. What level of fire protection do you have in the building?
Fire extinguishers. That's
Okay.
it. That is-
Are the vehicles that we saw in the building and also that are parked out front, are they all operable?
Yes.
So they have gasoline in the tanks, et cetera?
No, and he can check them out. They're all on E. The ones inside the building, they're all on E.
But you could crank it up if you turned it.
I mean, if you charge the battery up, they've been sitting there for a while.
Okay.
I have a question, sir. Mr. Muniz, how do you move the vehicles?
I don't have to move them. I'm using it for storage.
On the front and the outside?
The front ones, they're just sitting there. They're not being moved, and that's on the property.
And
It's out
there's
on the
no
street.
fuel in them
The
whatsoever?
inside ones, there's no fuel in them.
Thank you.
I was prepared for this.
Okay, well, okay, all right. Any cross-examination?
No, but could the city present rebuttal evidence?
Yes, please.
The city would recall Inspector Martin Rowden.
Well, just before you do that, Ms. Munoz, do you have anything else you want to share with us before we hear from the rebuttal witness?
No, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Inspector Rowdenbush. When you were there on April 17th of 2024, did you speak with Mr. Muniz?
Yes.
What, if anything, did he say to you about what was happening at that property?
He did inform me that they were his personal cars, that he was working on his personal cars, that he wasn't running a business. But the requirement for a repair license is a fire code requirement, meaning whether you running a business or you working on your own vehicles, you still need this license because the license triggers a fire inspection every year because of the hazard of working on motor vehicles with gasoline and fuel like that. The property needs to be inspected.
Well,
So
do you remember what specific language he used when he said working on or something similar?
just maintaining his and working on his own vehicles, that he wasn't running a business.
So did you take that to mean that he was doing something more than merely storing the vehicle?
Yes, that he would repair if they needed to be repaired or any type of work, that's why all the equipment, as you see in the picture, all the equipment was in the shop.
I was actually about to ask you, does the equipment that is in this photo on page 11 indicate mere storage or actual work being done on motor vehicles?
Actual work being done. We have a jack present. You also have a charger for batteries. You have a bag of open oil dry in the bottom below the date with oil dry on the floor because oil was spilled.
And is oil a flammable substance?
Combustible.
Combustible, sorry.
Question.
If you'll indulge me a little bit
please.
further. Now, the business license search that showed this 2022 or 2021 license issued to Eurotech Auto Experts, Inc. Do you know what happened to Eurotech Auto Experts, Inc.?
Yes.
What happened?
They moved next door to 6832. They're the ones that obtained the zoning originally. When he was saying the date about 19, in the violation notice, I wrote that the zoning, a use permit was obtained in 2019 for auto repair, but no certificate of occupancy was ever applied for to legalize that after that 19th act. So it doesn't matter who applies for the zoning, somebody still needs to obtain the certificate of occupancy to legalize the property, because as of this moment, there is no registered use for the property with a certificate of occupancy.
And just out of curiosity, does the same person who owns this parcel own the next door parcel at 6832 New State Road?
Yes.
With that, I'd actually like to point out to the board something that has already happened, that the board has already rendered a decision on. There was an appeal, if the board recalls, in 2023 for 6832 New State Road. The owner of that property, Greg Argentina, had challenged a notice of violations for lack of a certificate of occupancy for use as an auto repair shop. That's the next door property. And in order to resolve this appeal, the parties entered into an agreement and this board issued a notice of decision. The notice of decision was city affirmed per that agreement, that was November 7th of 2024, which was a few months after this appeal was filed. So the people that vacated 6836 New State Road to Mr. Muniz moved next door, started an auto repair shop, and had a similar lack of CO issue that they resolved with the city. With
Thank you.
that, I'll stop sharing my screen.
Okay.
And if Mr. Muniz has any cross-examination on the rebuttal.
Okay.
this would
I have
be-
a question.
Yes.
Inspector Rodenbush, the certificate of occupancy, we just want to make sure you testify, applies to the building itself, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Munoz, do you have any additional questions for Mr. Brown Bush based on his new testimony?
The occupancy, certificate, who applies for that, me or the landlord?
You,
Oh, I didn't-
whoever is occupying the
I-
building, it has a lot to do with the lease arrangement in terms of who's responsible for certain things. And so you refer to your lease, either you or the owner of the building.
Okay, see, I had no knowledge of that.
Well, look at your lease. I'm not sure what your lease says.
One question.
Yes.
Mr. Nunes, what is your occupation?
I'm a machine shop. I work in a machine shop in Humeville.
You work 40 hours a week there?
Yes, sir.
So this is a hobby? Collecting cars?
Yes, sir.
Have you worked for Mr. Argentina?
No, sir.
All right, thank you.
If you could put that photograph back up, I do have a couple questions for
Yeah.
the appellant, Mr. Munoz.
I assume you mean page 11?
Yes, that show the interior of the shop. Now, Mr. Mears, the items that we're viewing there, in addition to the vehicles themselves, are any, well, I'll start with the vehicles. Any of the vehicles classic, or is there a particular,
Yes.
which ones are classic cars?
Everyone you see in there. got it.
Tell me what they are.
A 99 Chevy Tahoe.
Okay.
A 93 Toyota Corolla, a 93 Honda Civic, a 67 Camaro, a 72 Nova. That's it.
Okay, so basically they're 20 years old or more, so that would make them, is there any particular theme of your collection? Any particular types of cars?
I have a passion for cars.
Okay,
When you get a good deal on them, you grab them.
okay. Now, what about all of these items to the right? What is that
All
stuff?
right, the lifts are part of the building. I have nothing to do. That belongs
In
to the
addition,
trades.
yeah, not the list themselves.
Okay, well, the jack is mine.
No. The
Okay.
things that appear to be on top of there's some cardboard. It looks like black plastic bags. I'm trying to distinguish what those items are right below that light or skylight. I'm not sure what that is.
That's a lift that can't be used because it's disconnected, so I just put stuff on top of it.
Yeah, what are those items?
Car parts.
Okay. Would you show the photo of the front of the building?
Or do you want a zoomed out photo?
The zoomed out version. I think there's one that shows tires stacked.
Oh, that was the neighbor. I had them remove it too.
Okay, I just want to see it so you can identify.
Is it this photograph?
No.
Or different?
No, it should be, I think there's one more exterior,
Ah,
there.
yes.
Now, those tires yours?
No, sir, that was the neighbor's tires. They were delivered to the wrong address.
Oh, those are new tires that were delivered,
I would assume, yeah.
so they don't belong to you.
No, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you. Anything else?
Just closing argument.
Okay, before you do close the argument, Mr. Munoz, anything else you want to add? Because given what you have here, there's a significant fire risk. So the fire alarm system, et cetera, are you aware of what the requirements are for you?
No, sir.
Okay. One of the things that triggers when you submit an application for a CO for that space, it then tells you all the other things you need to do to comply. And so that's why it's important that you submit the appropriate applications and get the building set up the way that the code requires. Okay, thank you. Mr. Cohen?
If it pleases the board, Mr. Muniz has not been truthful with this board about the actual use at this property. And I think Inspector Raudenbush's testimony and the photographs show it's being used as an auto shop. It was rented out as an auto shop. They got a use permit for an auto shop. And then the auto shop moved next door and Mr. Muniz started renting this same auto shop as his own. Whether he is doing it for commercial purposes or for personal use is immaterial because fire does not care about that. The fire hazards that are present and that require abatement need to be addressed, whether he is selling the cars or working on his own for his personal hobby. And with that, the city presents this, its evidence packet and the additional testimony of Inspector Raudenbush in favor of a city affirmed decision.
Thank you. Before we vote, Mr. Munoz, anything you want to add?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just a little concerned. I think Mr. Munoz has been truthful with us, actually. And the only issue is whether he still needs a license. You rent this garage, you've been renting it since 2023.
Yes, December of 2023.
So these violations were issued in April of 2024. And you've been keeping vehicles in that garage that you maintain, fix up. And so if I understand the matter correctly, the issue is whether or not you need a license to maintain, repair, keep vehicles in that garage and or a certificate of occupancy because there are vehicles being kept in the garage. But I think what I'm just saying is what you've said to us. You have cars that you keep in that garage.
Yes, sir.
And they're your personal cars.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Munoz, we have one question. Why didn't you apply for response to the inspector and apply for the appropriate license?
So I was waiting for the outcome of this because I wasn't sure how.
Well, this is the hearing where we make a
Right, right.
decision. We don't give you counseling in this setting.
I understand that, sir, but I'm naive to this. So this is my first time doing
Well,
it.
that's why I was asking, why didn't you talk to the guy who could help you before now? The inspector. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Can we have an executive session?
Sure. Off the record. Is there an additional testimony or argument? If not, we will proceed to call the vote on this matter. Mr. Munoz, anything you want to add before we do that?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cohen, anything?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Regarding HA 2024-01520-6836 New State Road, Julio Munoz, city affirmed.
City affirmed. City affirmed.
City affirmed.
Mr. Munoz, the vote is as you witness is city affirmed, which means the city's position holds. Also want to say to you that you may appeal a decision of this board if you choose to do that. And if you need information, call the number on the decision letter and they will give you information you require to appeal our decision. Understood?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, members of the board.
Yes, witnesses are excused.
Mr. Chairman, if I can call your attention to item number.
Yes, you're permitted to leave. Yes, yeah. Yep.
Call your attention, sir, to item number 36. Hearing appeal ending 1616-2345 Tasker Street. Victoria Ham Kit is in the room.
Okay, thank you. Please come forward. Okay, would the parties identify themselves for the record, please, ma'am?
2345 Philadelphia, PA, zip is 19145.
Thank you. Would you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, Chair, pardon me, this is the reporter. I did not hear the witness identify herself. Could she please repeat it?
My name is Victoria Ham Kit.
Did you get everything else, Mr. Kelly?
Yes, Chair, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, Ms. Hamkit, before we proceed, that property in question on Tasker, whose name is on the deed for that? Just yours? Okay, thank you. All righty, Mr. Cohen, do you have any witnesses?
Yes, the city calls William Smith, inspector from LNI.
Okay, Mr. Smith, would you raise your right hand to be sworn? Please direct the microphone to you. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
I do.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Cohen, please proceed.
Inspector Smith, have you, through the course of your job for LNI, reviewed the records for and inspected the property at 2345 Tasker?
Yes.
If it's packet on my screen, this
Yes.
has been previously provided. Start with Exhibit C1 on page 2. Inspector, what is this photograph?
That's the front exterior of the property.
This photo.
I did.
When did you take this photograph?
It was either April 10th of 2024 or April 22nd of 2024. I took two of them.
I apologize again. This is the reporter. Could Mr. Cohen and the witness sort of share the microphone a little better? Thank you.
Actually, sir, you need to move over a little closer. Mr. Cohen, you may need to move over a little bit just so you can have equal access to the mic. Thank you.
Do we need to repeat the question and the answer?
No, Chair. Thank you.
So this is the photograph on page 2. I'm going to scroll down to a second photograph here on page 6. Do you remember in which order you took the photographs?
I believe this is the second one on April 22nd.
And just noting for the record, on April 22nd, was the mailbox open in that photograph?
Yes.
Was there any accumulation of mail in the mailbox on that date?
Not that I observed.
Now, when you were at the property on April 10th, what, if any, indications were there that the property was occupied?
I spoke with a neighbor and asked him if anybody resided at the property, and he told me a girl rents it out.
Were there any other indications in the photograph that would show that the property is occupied?
There's a recycle bin out front.
And is there an accumulation of recycling in that bin in either the photographs from April 10th or scrolling down April 22nd?
Not that I observed. I didn't look in it.
And going up to page 3 in the packet, did you conduct a search to see if any licenses existed for this property?
I did. There were none.
And is that accurately reflected in this search on page 3 that's labeled Exhibit C2?
Yes, it is.
And moving on to page 4, what is this document that I have on screen?
This is the site violation notice I wrote for not having a 1 and 2 family rental license.
Just for the sake of the record, I'm going to go down to page 25. What is this document that I have on screen?
It's a permit for a roof permit,
Easy roof covering replacement.
correct?
What's the date of issue? Well, you can also read it off of the.
Nine 2024,
About 5 months after the SVN was issued.
correct?
And what is the address of the permit holder?
2046 McClellan Street.
And based on your review of LNI's records, is that the still current address, offsite address of the owner, the appellant who's sitting to my left?
As far as I know.
Thank you very much, Inspector. I would present for prosecution, and if Ms. Hamkate would like to use the exhibits, I can jump around.
Okay. Ma'am, do you have any cross-examination or questions for the inspector?
Yes.
Okay, now keep in mind, you will be presenting your argument later, but right now is to ask him any questions based on his testimony. So what would you like to ask him?
The 2046 address,
No, that's not a question. That's a statement. Do you have any questions for him?
yes.
Okay,
Can you,
pose them to us though.
can you tell me, who said that I was renting my house out?
Had several complaints, and one of them was for not having a rental license.
Okay, I think specifically she was asking, could you identify the individual? And your response is that you had you received general complaints.
There were two complaints against the property.
Okay.
One was for not having a rental license. The other was for a leaky roof.
Okay, and the leaky roof complaint came from an occupant?
The city would actually, for the purpose of maintaining the
Yeah.
privilege of the complainant, would object just to relevance.
Okay. Okay, any additional questions?
Yes, because I wanted to know more about the roof, because I had a complaint about my roof, so.
Okay, well, it generated a complaint generates a response from the city. And so you should know that the inspector came to your property because there were, well, he inspected your property, the exterior, he took photographs, so he was there.
Outside,
Yes,
right, but I had a problem.
no, you misunderstand me. Inspections are driven by complaints. So one or more people complain about a address, eventually an LNI inspector goes and checks it out. So that's what happened in your case. Somebody complained and the inspector went out.
And can you tell me when he
No,
went
not
out?
specifically the person who complained, no.
So when he went out for the complaint, what was done? What was said? What needed
Well,
to
what
be
he
done?
did, that's the violation notice. Put the violation notice up again and it'll show that. Essentially, he went out, looked at it and determined that the violation that existed was that there was no rental license. That was his determination. Now, we here today to determine whether or not that's accurate or proper or not.
Okay.
Okay, that's our role today.
Yeah.
Okay. Any additional witnesses, Mr. Cohen?
No, but the city does have documentary evidence to enter into the record.
Yes, please.
Starting on page 9 in the packet. Again, the highlighting in any of these documents is not in the original, it's been added for emphasis. This deed, which transfers the property from the appellant to Betty Ann Kate, I'll get to that in a second, transferred the property at 2046 McClellan Street for $1 back in 2004, so 21 years ago. And down here, we actually see it's a transfer from a mother to her daughter, but you actually see on the tax transfer certificate that both mother and daughter claim 2046 McClellan Street as their address. So as of 2004, both mother and daughter are still living on McClellan Street. And then here on page 14 in the packet, we have a 2012 deed to the subject premises, 2345 Tasker Street. The appellant is purchasing the property, and she represents her address in handwriting on page 16 as 2046 McClellan Street, and again on the transfer tax certificate as McClellan Street. And then 2 years after the purchase, so with ample time to potentially have moved into Tasker Street, we have a lawsuit that was filed against Ms. Ham-Kate and several other defendants. The lawsuit is immaterial. We're not entering anything pertaining to the merits of that suit. The only thing that we care about here is on pages 21 and 22, The allegation made in the complaint is that the defendant, who is the appellant here, is an adult residing at 2046 McClellan Street. And the answer that was filed a few months later, which again was on the defendant slash appellant's behalf, admits that she in 2014 resided at 2046 McClellan Street. And with that, the city would enter its packet into the record.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Anything else, Mr. Cohen?
With that, the city rests.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty. Ms. Hamkit, what is your presentation regarding in response to this violation notice?
Yes, I did purchase the property in 2012. And it was, like, almost like a shell, so I could not live there. So that's why I was, staying with my daughter. And occasionally I still stay with her because she is, mentally disabled. And she has a, learning disabled as well. And, so I be at both places.
So you purchased the property in 2012,
Mhm.
but the McClellan Street property
That
is,
was her property. I gave her that property back in maybe 20.
that was the transfer for $1 that was noted?
Yeah, maybe, I
Okay.
don't remember, maybe 07 or 08. It wasn't in 12.
Okay, but there was a note, it was a transfer of ownership for $1 between
Me and my daughter, I
you and
gave
your
it to
daughter.
her.
Okay.
And I
and so-
purchased 2345 in 2012. And I
Okay.
couldn't live in it because it was a shell.
Understood, but I'm at the point we're asking here is that the property itself has remained mostly vacant during,
No, I was working on it and I was staying in it, but I couldn't stay in it until I got one of the bedrooms completely done.
okay, so the only permits that show the roofing permit, any other permits pulled for plumbing, electrical, other repair?
But all that was done, it was like, when I say a shell, well, the rooms wasn't up. I did floors, I did windows, I did doors.
Okay. Any other questions from anyone?
Nothing from the city. Thank you.
Okay.
Who lives in the property now?
I do.
Who lived in the property in April of last year?
I do. I work every day too, so I never, he was never knocked on the door and I was never answered for someone to come in and inspect my house. So I don't know what's that all about.
Has anyone else lived in the property since 2012 besides yourself?
Besides myself, my nephew has been in there with me off and on. He's a truck driver.
Thank you.
Question, you use McClellan Street as your address on almost all your official documents. Why is that?
Because I'm always there with my daughter and she needs my help, like I say, but I'm so used to, because that's my first home. And I don't get, she gets the utilities and all that stuff there, but I still get junk mail, everything's still there.
Well, that's part of why we're here today, is that it's identified as your official residence.
Well, it's not, because I have mail at 2345 Tasker. I work for the school district. I have pay stubs there. I get my W-2 there. I
Okay.
got my,
You have any of that information you presenting today as evidence?
I have my license. I didn't know I needed to bring.
Well, you had to, well, keep in mind, this is the hearing that you asked for an appeal to appeal the violation, and it means you wanted to prove your case, right? So we asked, did you come prepared to prove your case?
I'm gonna see if I have any, let you go.
But we aren't asking, you didn't submit it in advance though, did you?
I didn't really know what this was all about and what I needed to.
But you submitted, okay, you submitted a request for a hearing.
Yes, because I thought that I didn't really, I wanted the hearing because I wasn't sure what it was all about. So now that I'm here, now I see what the complaint is all about. I didn't know.
Did you call the inspector once you got the violation notice?
No, I didn't even know who he was.
I mean, but it's on the form, the document.
Oh,
Okay.
maybe I didn't understand the paperwork or did read it incorrectly, but I never got a business card from him in the door stating he was there at my house, anything.
But you did get the violation notice, correct? In the mail?
I got papers work talking about coming here.
You didn't get the original violation notice?
No,
Excuse me. So how did you apply for the appeal? How did you know where to apply for the appeal?
I got something in the mail telling me that I needed to come here.
But the
And I-
document has your name on it.
I'm assuming so, because if it came to my house, I get my mail, I'll be there backwards and forwards. Well, for me, if something came in the mail and I didn't understand it, if it told me to appeal something for me to have a court hearing, I'm gonna do that.
Without reading it entirely, now not
I
knowing
didn't,
what
I
you're
didn't read,
here
and I,
for today.
like, this is the first understanding that, what's really going on with this.
And you never received a violation notice with a telling you what the violation was for and
If it
a phone
pleases
number
the
to
If
board.
I received it, I didn't understand it, and like I say, I never knew Ella and I had been out to my house saying something, they had some complaints from me.
Thank you.
If it pleases the
Cohen?
board, I'm
Yes.
going to share on screen
Yes.
part of the city's exhibits packet. This is Exhibit C5. This is the appeal.
Oh, yeah, this is from.
No,
okay,
ma'am, you can't
okay,
speak, you
okay.
can't just
Yes.
blah.
Well, this is the appellant's
Yeah.
appeal,
Yeah.
and the
Yes.
immediate next page
Yes, yes,
is the copy of the violation.
yes.
I assumed you
Okay,
write the.
okay, I see, understand it now. Yeah, I see that, yes. I understand now what's that all about. Because when you were saying my roofing, I thought that someone was complaining that my roof was leaking and he came out. But also, I had one of my nieces staying with me at 2345, and I allowed her to stay there. And when I allowed her to stay there, me and her got into it because she was trying to take control of my place because I was back and forth between me and my daughter's house. But this was my house, and you cannot come in and take over.
Okay, now this niece, how long, is she still live with her?
No,
When did
she was there maybe like 3 months.
Okay.
And I kept asking her she needed to go because when she came in.
Okay, understood.
Okay.
Given that,
Mhm.
did you have a lease? Did she sign a lease?
No, it was no
Well,
lease.
let's just,
It was no lease.
okay, just let me ask a few
Okay,
questions and just
okay.
respond. Did you charge her rent?
She was supposed to help me pay the bills in the house because her and her children was there and she was homeless.
Okay, how
And
many children did she have?
She had 3.
So at some point, there was a young lady with at
Mhm,
least
with
3
3
children
mhm.
who were residing in the
Staying
building,
there with me.
and you were in and out, so you weren't
Yeah,
always present.
I
So
wasn't
let-
always
let-
present,
Okay,
no.
okay. So your neighbor or anyone who lives on the block or observes what's going on
Mhm.
could have seen this family
Mhm,
at that address,
mhm.
okay? Am I
That's
describing?
possible.
Okay.
Yes, and they saw me too.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Let's get, on a 30-day window, how many days do you stay there?
I was there every day.
Okay. How far is this property from the McClellan Street property?
About 9 blocks.
If we were to go there today, who would be there?
Nobody right now because I'm here and my nephew's not there. Like I say, he be coming staying with me sometime. He drives a truck.
Okay, do you have did you submit any bills for that address with your name on it, like water bill, electric bill, anything like that?
I didn't know that I needed to, but I do have them. Everything's current.
Okay, let me ask this again because I'm not understanding. When you submitted your request for this hearing to
Mhm.
appeal the violation, what was your expectation?
I I didn't know. I was just coming to find out what was going on.
Okay. Okay, good, okay, thank you.
Can I ask Mr.
Yeah,
Cohen?
please.
Mr. Cohen, can you put up the exhibit of the violation notice again, please? Thank you.
I assume you mean the copy with the city's highlighting on it?
That's correct.
There we are.
Okay, Ms. Kit, you never received this?
I came here and I
My question is, did you ever receive this item that's on the exhibit?
I think I did. I might not understood.
Okay, no, you answered the question. Mr. Cohen, can you scroll down a little bit? Well, first of all, look at the top right where it says district office. There's numbers for communication there. If you
I
don't
didn't- I
understand
didn't
that,
see.
you
I didn't.
make that phone call.
I came into this office.
I'm speaking of
Okay.
the site violation notice.
Okay.
So if you didn't understand this, you call the number. If the
did
gas company sends you a bill for $200,000, what do? You call them, don't you?
Yeah, but
Okay,
I didn't.
thank you.
all right, I
Thank
didn't
you, Mr.
call.
Cohen.
Yeah.
Anything else from anyone?
Only that I would reiterate, I believe we compared the exhibits, this exhibit that's on screen, the SVN, and the attachment to the appeal. I would propose to the board that they are in fact the same document, but this one has extra handwriting written on it, and it is attached to the appellant's appeal.
I have a question. Inspector Williams, when you visited the property twice,
Yes,
did you see any evidence of anyone living in the property other than the appellant?
I didn't see anyone.
Did you attempt to gain entry to the property or contact the owner?
I knocked on the front door both times I was there.
No response?
No.
Okay. Uh, there was no there was any check to see if there was activity in terms of utilities or whatever at that address? Mr. Williams?
I sent an inquiry to L&I Research, and that's how I discovered the off-site address
Okay,
of McClellan Street.
thank you.
Mr. Cohen, do we have evidence of that research, off-site research? Do we have that?
I think we have the testimony of the inspector, but typically, I think the normal process, and you can correct me if I'm wrong in this, the normal process is when a violation is discovered, it gets logged in the Eclipse system, and then it automatically goes to research to find a good address for the owner.
I just emailed them and they
Well,
do
we
what they
can,
do.
we can see if there's another witness here that has better knowledge of the inner workings of L&I's system, but I don't know if the board needs.
No, that, I'm fine with that. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, if there's nothing else from anyone, any final comments, ma'am, before we call this matter to a close?
I know that piece of paper had my writing on it. It was because I came down here to the municipal building when something came in the mail and I put in an appeal or asked to come to court for that. So yes, that piece of paper with my writing, yes, I was aware of it because I came down here to talk to someone about it. So I wasn't sure what it was all about, but when I got here to municipal building, they told me what I needed to do to get a hearing and to appeal it.
Okay,
So I did do the follow-up because I was unclear what it was all about.
okay.
And the
Right,
city
thank
would
you.
also note the appeal was filed within 20 days, so it's a timely appeal.
Okay. All right, thank you. We have a request to go off the record for an executive session. Just excuse us for a moment. Record. We will now poll the board regarding this matter. regarding HA 2024-001616, 2345 Tasker Street, Victoria Ham Keat. Appeal sustained.
Appeal sustained.
Appeal sustained.
Appeal sustained.
Ms. Keat, that means you won your appeal.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Have a good day. Your
Thank you, Member
witnesses are excused. Let's call our next matter.
Yes, sir. There's been a request to call item number 18. That's hearing appeal ending 1521-1925 Denny Street. Charles, welcome. He's available. He's here in the room, but virtually, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. May it please the board, Leonard F. Reuter for the city of Philadelphia.
Good afternoon. All righty, just one moment. Okay, Charles, welcome, sir. You make yourself known to the board, please.
Charles, welcome. Yeah, I'm on now.
Okay. All right, Mr. Welcome, would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth to help you God?
Yes,
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Welcome, this address, 1925 Denny Street, whose name is on the deed to that property?
my name,
Pardon me?
Charles Welcome.
Is that the only name on the deed?
From my understanding, I'm not sure if it's under my other. You might have me and my wife, Regina Welcome, Charles Welcome.
Okay, you aren't, your response isn't clear. So if you could try that again.
Charles Welcome, Regina Welcome.
Okay, Regina, welcome as your wife?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all right, thank you very much. Mr. Ryder, you have a witness today?
Yes, I do. Inspector Tui, could you please state your name and spell it for the record?
Yeah, get close to the mic.
No problem, sir. Inspector Tui, Tuohy.
Okay, would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give be the truth so help you God?
I do.
Thank you
May I,
very much.
excuse me, may I have the inspector's first name?
Francis.
Did you, were you able to get that, Mr. Kelly?
Yes, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Yeah, actually, yeah, have him move over there. It'd be easier, given we don't have an appellant in the room.
Sure, thank you. And if, with the board's permission, may I share my screen?
Yes, please.
There we go. And can everybody see that then?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm just gonna, the first exhibit marked as City Exhibit C1. This is just the appellant's own appeal application, and I just wanted to draw the board's attention to that. In section 6, where it says reasons for appeal, it shows, it says intent to obtain necessary permit certificates for compliance. So the city's first point to make here before we even get into testimony is that there doesn't seem to be any dispute from the actual violation. Mr. Welcome is simply indicating in his appeal, which was filed nearly a year ago, April of 2024, that he was intending to legalize the use. Attached to the appeal, I'm just going through this, you'll see that's the violation notice. It's not very legible. However, Exhibit C2 is a cleaner copy of the violation notice, and I would ask, Inspector, do you recognize this document?
Yes,
And what is that?
this is a violation notice in order to correct.
Okay, and was that sent to Charles and Regina Welcome?
Yes,
And it was sent to a PO box address?
yes,
Okay, and it indicates the property in violation was at 1925 Denny Street?
that is correct.
Okay, and could you just indicate to the board what violations at the time were written?
We have observed 1 apartment and 7 rooming units with locks on doors, must be restored to approved dwelling, must remove all walls on the first floor. Second violation would be properties occupied without a certificate of occupancy. Third violation, there is not a fire certification in the Eclipse with license and inspection. I'm sorry,
Okay.
scrolled a little fast.
Oh, no, sorry.
Nope, that's okay. I mean, we got the point. There's no certification for the fire alarm system.
Okay, I'll go to the second page, and is there an additional violation there?
It says fire certification must be submitted.
Okay, and with respect to those fire certifications, were you able to make a determination about whether or not those have been complied?
Yes, it has been complied.
Okay, so the only issues before the board today are whether their property is still being used as a rooming house without a zoning permit and without a proper certificate of occupancy. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And as of today, were you able to make any determination about whether a zoning permit or a CO has been issued yet?
When I was at the property at the time of inspection, there was not.
Okay.
There was nothing in the system.
Okay. And to the best of your knowledge, is it also the case today that there is still no certificate of occupancy or zoning permit?
That is correct.
Okay. Moving on, I'm going to have to reduce the size of these. Just a second. Not working. I'm going to draw your attention now to a couple photos. Let me know if, so what is this photo showing here?
That is a door to one of the rooming houses inside the property.
And is there anything noticeable about the door or noteworthy about the door? This is an interior door?
Yes.
Okay.
There's locks on the door.
Locks on the interior, on one of these interior doors. And I'm going to show the next exhibit. Is this where is this?
That appears to be a door with a lock on, I believe it would be the second floor.
Okay, and there's two doors in that photo, right?
Yes.
Also, both with locks on the doors?
It's hard for me to see the door in the background. But
Okay, sure. And this is another photo?
yes.
Okay, and what is that, can you read what that sign says?
It appears to be a no smoking sign.
Okay, and in your experience as an inspector, do people in single-family homes normally put up no smoking signs on the inside?
No.
Okay. Do they normally put up these kinds of locks on the interior doors?
No.
Okay. What does this photo show, if you can tell?
To be honest, I do not know. I'm not the original inspector for this property.
I see, okay. What does this photo show?
Shows the interior of a bedroom.
Okay. And this?
Same, an open door with a bed.
Okay. And this?
That would be a kitchen area.
And is this a kitchen area in one of the units? Or
No,
a shared kitchen?
That would be in a shared kitchen.
Okay. Scroll through these. Those are the bathrooms. I don't think we need to see all of these. That will, I guess that's a microwave.
Microwave with a power strip.
Okay. Stairs to a basement area, presumably.
Yes.
Is this another view of the hallway?
Yes.
Okay.
That'd be the first floor.
Also another hallway.
Yes.
And how many rooms are, to the best of your knowledge, how many rooms are being individually occupied?
At the time when I went to the property, there was 6 that were being occupied. 2 were vacated.
Okay. And this photo here is showing a bathroom?
Yes.
Okay. And do the individual rooms that have locks on them, do they have bathrooms within those rooms?
No, they do not.
Would that indicate that this bathroom is being shared by multiple occupants?
Yes.
Okay. Are you familiar with the city's ordinance regarding what constitutes a single family?
Yes.
Okay, is that no more than 3 persons unrelated by blood?
Correct.
Okay, and given that I believe you said that there were 6 occupied units in the property, all of which have door locks, all of which appear to be sharing a bathroom. Would that indicate to you that this property is being used as a rooming house?
Yes,
Okay, or I think the technical term in the code would be single room residence. Okay. I think we just have more pictures. How many bathrooms are in the property, if you recall?
there's a half bathroom on the first floor and there's 2 bathrooms on the second floor.
And the full bathrooms have like
Full bath.
showers, I guess?
Yes,
Okay.
bathing area, toilet, and a sink.
And what is this photo showing?
A sign on the door for an office.
Okay, and again, it's not the kind of sign that somebody living in a single family house would put up.
That is correct.
All right. So in conclusion, with respect to the exhibits, Inspector, would you say that all of the evidence points to the property being used as a rooming house without the proper use permit and without a certificate of occupancy?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. I have no further questions for the inspector.
Mr. Welcome, do you have any questions for the inspector based on his testimony?
The house it's just it's a single family property.
Okay, sir. No.
What
Do
you,
you have any questions for the inspector based on his testimony? In a moment, you can present your case, but before you do that, do you have any questions?
No.
You don't, okay. All right, thank you. Any additional witnesses, Mr. Broder?
No.
Okay.
I will say, just as an officer of the court, I did check myself. It does appear that Mr. Welcome or somebody on his behalf very recently, within the month of March, this March, submitted a permit application for a zoning permit. That is, I believe that permit application is not complete. But again, it's just a permit application, and that was only filed, to the best of my knowledge, it was only filed in March. Nothing else has been done with that. And again, I would remind the board that the violation was originally written in April of 2024, at which time Mr. Welcome said that he was going to try to obtain the permit. So it took a while, but I guess he's trying now.
Okay. All right, thank you. Mr. Welcome, your opportunity to present your case. What would you like to share with us?
Yeah, I am in the process of trying to go to zoning so I can get it zoned the way we want to have that property be. And of course, the application for the permit is in, and we trying to get things through with that.
Sir, I'm not sure that the court reporter was able to record your final statement. So you need to be close to the mic and just be direct. So the question, your statement was that you are now attempting to obtain the appropriate zoning for the location?
Yes, I am I am going to the zoning board once this is being refused. I know it will be. So
Okay.
zoning
What else do you want to share with us in terms of your ownership and how you're using the property?
Yeah, we are using it. We are using it like you said it's a single family dwelling with 5 rooms in it initially.
We couldn't hear you. We can't hear you.
I'm talking to you through the screen like you asked me to do. And it's a 5-bedroom house.
Okay.
And it's in a zone like it was a recreation property. That with that being known, that made me assume that I could make it out of a rooming house. I tried that. That's what I was doing.
Okay. Good. Well, you may not be.
No,
I
listen, can I finish talking?
Well, we can't hear you because your voice keeps dropping and then it goes away. We can't hear you.
I'm trying to, I don't know what else to do with this. I'm talking to you through, let me just raise my speaker up a little bit. Maybe that'll help. Is that any better, sir? My speaker all the way up.
Okay. All right. Well, let me ask you one additional question. Is your office for Wizard Realty also in that building?
No,
Department, yes or no?
no, it's not.
Okay. All righty. Well, who operates Wizard Realty?
I own that LLC. Yes,
Okay.
I have an office,
Where is the office for Wizard Realty?
Not in that
located?
building right there.
You didn't answer my question. Where is the Office of Realty located?
102 West Stonewall Drive, Middletown, Delaware.
In Delaware.
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anyone, Mr. Rodder, any cross-examination, any questions?
No, I would just indicate to the board that actually Mr. Welcome is correct. For some reason, the property currently is zoned SPPOA, which is a special purpose recreational active. I think that's probably in error. It's next to an RSA 5 district. It should be RSA 5. In either event, to legalize this property as a rooming house would require a variance, which is, I can't speak to whether or not that would be granted. I would say that there's a general, single room residences are generally disfavored in single family housing, single family zoning districts like RSA 5. So given the length of time it would take to legalize this, since it's going to need a variance, we're talking upwards of a year. And if there's opposition, there could be appeals. The city would just ask that the matter be affirmed rather than, affirmed with the stay of enforcement, because it's just going to, there doesn't seem to be any actual dispute about the violation here.
Good. Mr. Welcome, how long have you owned the building?
I own that property since 1990. No. I bought it in the early 90s. I'm not sure exactly what year.
Mr. Welcome, the pictures that were shown of the different rooms in the property,
Yes.
were they accurate?
Were they accurate in terms of what they are today?
Were they accurate? Did they show the property as you know it? With those rooms, with the doors and the sign about non-smoking and?
That's accurate, so I'm not denying that.
Oh, okay. And the fact that the rooms that you said it was a 5-bedroom house and there were reported to be a number of bedrooms on the first floor. Did you, either you yourself or someone you hired, renovate the inside of the property to create those separate rooming units?
Yeah, we did. We did.
Okay.
Did create a
Thank you.
couple other rooms.
Thank you.
Any additional questions from anyone? Okay, if not,
Mr. Welcome, just a quick curious question. When you purchased that property, did you have some history of it being associated with the park next to it? Was it an office for the?
No, I had no idea. No, I did not.
All right, thank you.
okay. There are no additional questions, but Mr. Welcome, any final comments you'd like to make before we ask Mr. Rodder for any final argument?
No, I don't have anything else to say.
All right, thank you. Mr. Rodder, any closing argument?
No, I think the evidence speaks for itself. As I said, there doesn't really seem to be any actual dispute of the violations here. And the city doesn't see any basis to reach any other result other than city affirmed here.
Thank you. Okay, then we will poll the board regarding HA 2024-001521, 1925 Denny Street. Charles, welcome. City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
All right, Mr. Welcome, the city's position prevails. You may appeal our decision. If you need information as to how to do that, check with the administrator's office. There's a phone number that will be included in the decision letter that you will receive regarding today's session. Okay?
Okay, y'all send the letter out. Let me know what you actually mean, right?
Yeah, they'll send a letter to the address that you provided.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
afternoon.
You
The
too.
witnesses are excused.
Thank you. May I be excused?
Yes.
Thank you.
Sir, calling your attention to item 37 on today's list. That's 1337 South Mall Street, Joseph Sweeney.
Okay. Who's representing the city?
Good afternoon again, Kristen Patchell for the city.
Afternoon, Ms. Patchell. Mr. Sweeney, Joseph Sweeney. Okay, no one has responded. Mr. Any,
Yes, sir. Appellants listed 912 South St. Bernard Street in their appeal. Notice of this hearing was sent to that same address on 1/29/25.
okay, no one's responding. Ms. Patchell, what is your pleasure?
The city would ask for a city affirm due to non-appearance.
Thank you. Time, Mr. Pincus?
3:12 PM.
3:12 PM. We will poll the board regarding HA 2024-001621, 1337 South Mole Street, Joseph Sweeney, city affirmed for lack of appearance.
City affirmed for failure to appear.
City affirmed on appearance.
City affirmed non-appearance.
Thank you very much. That resolves that matter. Okay,
been
before
a-
we call the next matter, I need to go off the record for about 3 minutes.
This is item 33 on today's list, hearing appeal ending 1607-4238 Carteret Drive. Ihor Ben-Hur is the appellant. He's on the Zoom call, sir.
Okay, Mrs. Ben-Hur, make yourself known to the panel, please.
Mr. Venher, if you could unmute yourself, please.
Yes.
Because what you're saying makes no sense.
Okay, Mr. Venher, you'll need to, we can't see you. Apparently, you need to turn the light on or something because
One
we
second,
can't
I
make
have
out
to
you.
on the Okay,
Thank you, sir.
okay, thanks.
All right. Would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn?
Sorry, say it again?
Would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? The other right hand, the right hand.
Sorry.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. You can place your hand down. Okay, who's representing the city?
Good afternoon again, members of the board. Jeffrey Cohen for the city of Philadelphia.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Cohen, do you have any witnesses today?
Yes, the city will call Stephen Monty, inspector from LNI. He is on the Zoom.
Inspector Monte, would you make yourself known to the board, please? Okay, just raise your right hand so that you may be sworn.
Yes,
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You can place your hand down. Okay, Mr. Cohen?
Thank you. The city would call Inspector Monty. And the city would also request to share its exhibits on screen that have been previously provided to the board and to the appellant.
Yes, please.
Inspector, have you had an opportunity to review LNI's records for and inspect the property at 4238 Carteret Drive?
Yes, I have.
And if it pleases the board, let's start with this document C1 on page 3. I will note for the record, the city will stipulate that the plumbing permit violation has been marked complied.
Okay, thank you.
Now, Inspector, what is this document that I have on screen?
This is a initial violation notice in order to correct.
And is this for the subject premises at Carteret Drive?
Yes, it is.
What are the violations listed on this notice?
So for no building permit, for the garage removal, zoning, no zoning permit for the construction, erection, or removal of any structure, no electrical permit for the electrical panel installed on the shed. There was no building permit also for the interior of the structure as well.
And specifically with respect to the electrical permit violation, are the two cited conditions separate, meaning the electrical panel is separate from or installed elsewhere than the shed?
That is correct. There's a electrical panel on the in the shed, and there's also 3 panels in the basement.
Thank you. I just wanted to note it for the board because we're going to jump into the photographs and there are sort of separate issues at play here. Now let's scroll down here to page 6 in the packet, which is exhibit C2. What are these documents that I have on screen?
These are photos of the subject premises.
And who took these photos?
This would be Inspector K. Kelly.
When were these photos taken?
On 4/6/2024.
And are these photographs kept in LNI's system in the ordinary course of business?
Yes, they are in the Eclipse database.
And they were taken by an inspector through the course of their duties?
Yes, a certified inspector.
And is this a photograph of the subject premises on Carteret Drive?
Yes, it is. That is the front of the site.
And if you could point out where the garage used to be on this photograph?
I don't know if my mouse
Well,
is
with-
moving.
If you could describe it, because obviously you can't point with your finger.
So, yeah, there's 4 ballasts out front of where the garage used to be. There's also 2 smaller windows where the garage used to be, right below the pent that you can see below the first story apartment windows.
And to the left of the windows of what used to be the garage, what is that gray box that has 3 circles on it?
Yeah, so that would be a 3 gang box for 3 different electrical services.
Meaning that there would be 3 different electrical meters servicing the same property?
So it would be servicing the same site, but it would be 3 separate addresses.
What does that tend to indicate, where there's 3 separate electric meters?
So that would tend to indicate that there's 3 separate units in this building.
Thank you. And scrolling down to page 7, what is in this photograph?
So this is a photograph of the shed in the rear, one of the sheds in the rear. There's also one to the left. You can see the roof on the left hand side of that photo as well.
If I scroll down to page 8 in the packet here, is that the shed to the left?
Yes, that is correct.
And are there electrical lights both on the shed and sort of hanging across on these wires between the 2 sheds?
Yes, that is correct. There's also inside that main shed in the picture there, there's also outlets, there's a heater, there's TVs in there.
So presumably, is there electrical service to the shed?
Yes,
Or
that is
sheds?
correct. Yes, that is
What is
correct.
depicted in this photograph that's on page 9?
So yeah, that is a picture of the interior of that shed in the above picture. It's a light fixture. That is a heater on the wall, mounted to the wall there. There's electrical outlets on the wall, lights. I could see a table in the picture, also chairs inside. Looks like a candle.
Now scrolling down to this page, page 10 in the packet, is this inside the shed or inside the main structure?
So this is inside the main structure in the basement.
And
This
are
is-
these 3 separate electrical panels?
That is correct. Just like coinciding with the other picture with the 3 meters out front, this is what the meters are feeding off of, 3 separate panels.
And what would be the purpose of having 3 separate electrical panels?
Typically for having 3 separate tenants.
And just on the upper left-hand corner of the 2 upper left-hand corners that are visible, are there a number 1 and a number 2 on the separate panels?
That is correct.
I'm scrolling down here to page 11. Are these 3 separate washer dryer units?
Yes, it is. Yes, they are.
Now I'm going to page 12 in the packet. Are these photographs that you yourself took?
Yes, that is correct. I was there on Monday, March 17th, 2025 at approximately 12:10.
And is this, I don't know, it's a white box in the middle of the ground floor wall with 2 wires hanging off of it. What is that?
So that's correct. That is a newly installed Tesla charging station.
That wasn't there in the April 2024 photo, was it?
That's correct. No, it was not.
And we still see that same 3-gang electric meter to the left. Is that correct?
That is correct. And if you look closer, you could also see that there's 3 mailboxes indicating 1, 2, and basement as well.
If I scroll down to page 13 in the packet, is that a close-up of those mailboxes?
That is correct.
And what do 3 separate mailboxes tend to indicate to you?
Typically, that would be 3 separate tenants.
And again, is this the same interior we looked at earlier?
Yes, that's correct. That's a picture I took the same day. You could also see in that picture that there's multiple lights on the ceiling and that there's also a TV mounted.
And there's still electrical service presumably to this interior.
That is correct.
And down here on page 15, are these the same 3 electric meters from the previous photo just a year later, or almost a year later?
Yes, that is correct.
And just noting for the record, is there, now that we can see the corner of the leftmost panel, does it have a B where the other ones have 1 and 2?
It does, just like the mailboxes out front.
And are those the 3 same washer dryer units? But this is an updated photo from March 17th.
That is correct, yes.
And finally, this photo on page 17, are these, it's difficult to see the one in the back, but are these 3 separate AC condenser units?
That's exactly what that is. You could also see 3 separate shutoffs, disconnects on the wall with the wires coming down to the 3 separate condenser units. It also shows on that wall 3 separate vents, dry exhaust vents coming out of the wall for those washer dryers inside.
I know it's a little difficult to see. I'm going to blow it up here. Is there still those same hanging light bulbs between the 2 sheds?
Yes, yes, they are.
Have you reviewed Eclipse's permitting records for this property?
Yes, I have.
Is this what is this document that I have on screen that's on page 18 in the packet?
So this is
make it
a screenshot, a picture of the Eclipse system of the permits for this address. It shows that there are a few permits that are completed and permits that are expired. Residential building permit is expired. One of the electrical permits are expired.
Just for the board's sake, for organization's sake, the city is going to go through the next few violations in sort of grouped.
Okay.
First the use, then electrical, and then we'll get to
Yes.
the residential building permit.
Okay.
But just for the sake of the record here, the 2 expired permits, is there one electrical permit EP 2022-5111 that is expired?
Yes, that is correct.
And the building permit RP 2021-2153, is that the building permit that's expired?
That is correct.
And are there any building permits other than the one that I just mentioned for this property?
No.
Thank you. And just for the board's sake, Exhibit C5 is a copy of the appeal that was filed minus the notice of violation. I'm not adding a repeat of that notice of violation.
Just one moment, Mr. Cohen, if you could just scroll up just for a moment. I'm gonna just quickly read through the reason for
yes.
the appeal. If you just magnify that a moment, just go up a little bit so we can see the whole thing.
Is that sufficient?
No, I need to
Okay.
see the reason for appeal. I'm gonna read that.
Yes.
Okay, just a bit more. Yep, okay, thank you.
Now
Oh,
looking.
okay, you scrolled
Oh,
past. the
sorry,
court-
sorry. I thought you were done.
No.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
apologize.
right here.
All right.
Excuse me.
Okay, thank you.
All right, is everyone done?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now moving on to page 20 in the packet. What is this permit that I have on screen?
This is a zoning permit. It says type of work parking only for the removal and or reduction of the existing 2 accessory interior parking spaces.
And what's the listed approved use on this permit?
I'm sorry, I can't see that.
Oh, hold on, I'll make it bigger. What's the approved use
Oh.
that's listed in this permit?
Thank you. I appreciate that. It is a residential 2-family.
So this permit doesn't look like it changed the use of the property, but it did affect the external dimensions of the property.
Correct. They took away the garage, the 2-car garage that was there, They did not change the use. And they did not change, it's still a two family.
Mr. Cohen, what is the date of that permit?
I was actually about to ask that. What is the date on the permit?
The date issued was March 9th, 2022.
And just for the sake of the record, that's about 2 years before the notice of violations, which was, I think, April 9th, 2024. And what zoning district is listed on the permit in the upper right-hand corner?
So this would be East District.
Oh, sorry, zoning district
sorry.
as opposed to the L&I district.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is this property in
that's-
the RSA or an RSA 4 district?
Yes, that is correct.
And just for the board's sake, I have included the table of allowed uses in residential districts and highlighted for the board the RSA 4 household living uses.
Right.
Single family, which is listed in green highlighting, is allowable as of right, but two family and multifamily are not. They're prohibited unless a variance is obtained. So changing the property from a two family to a multifamily, three family, four, etc., would require a variance. And moving on now to page 23 in the packet. What is this permit that I have on screen?
This is an electrical permit issued by ONI.
And
this
was
per-
this is permit ending 5111? Is that one of the ones that was marked expired?
That is correct.
And what is the scope of this permit that was since expired?
The scope of this was to add 12 switches, 20 outlets, and replacing the 200 amp service.
But again, this ended up being expired. So would there need to be a new electrical permit obtained to cover whatever this scope was?
That's correct.
Well, unless if is there another permit that might cover part but not all of that scope?
Yes. But that,
Do I have that permit on screen now?
yes, you do.
What is this permit that I have on screen?
So, similar to the other one, this is replacing an old service with a new 200 amp service. This one's for changing for a 3-gang meter socket and grounding without any interior wiring. So this is just for the 3-gang outside and replacing the 200 amp service inside.
And this permit was obtained, I think, about 21 days after the previous one. If we look, let's compare over here on page 23. This was issued June 1st of 2022. Is that right?
That is correct.
And they let this permit that was previously issued expire.
That is correct.
But then 21 days later, they got a new permit that actually specified we're installing a 3-gang electric meter. Is that right?
That is correct.
All right. And just for the record, this one says without any interior wiring, but we're going to move to here, page 29, separate electrical permit. Can you please tell us what the scope of this permit is?
Yes, this would be for interior wiring, but the approved scope of work says new complete wiring in basement includes outlets, switches, lights, and smoke detection as per the 2014 NEC.
So this basement permit doesn't include anything that was added to the sheds outside. Is that right?
That's correct. Or the EV charger out front.
As well. Thank you. To the best of your knowledge, is there any electrical permit that does cover the Tesla charger outside or the sheds in the back?
No.
And if the board wants, we can go back up to the list of permits that's on page 18 in the packet if you'd like to confirm.
Just proceed.
Okay. Now moving on here to page 32 in the packet. Is this the residential permit that we previously said had been marked expired?
Yes, that is correct.
What's the scope of this permit? And here I'll zoom in a little.
Thank you. So the approved scope of work is for the construction alterations throughout for the basement of an existing semi-detached structure for a 2-family household living as per the approved plans. No underpinning on this application. Set by permits are required for plumbing, mechanical, and electrical work.
And if we now move down, if you'll please excuse me.
Excuse me, could you just go back to that again?
Yes, of course.
5/11/22 was the
Oh,
date.
yes, the date on this
Yes.
permit, May
That's
11th,
correct.
2022. And scrolling down here to page 35 in the packet, are these the approved plans for that building permit?
Yes, that is correct.
And the city has on the next page blown up the top left-hand corner. What does it say up at the top, very top of these plans that I've highlighted in yellow?
Safely remove existing garage door.
So this permit does include or did include in its scope the removal and replacement of the garage door. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
But we do have on page 18, one moment. We have on page 18 that this permit was marked expired.
That
So
is correct.
Does the owner need a new permit to cover that same scope?
So what happened was this, in the beginning when this permit is issued, there's a development impact tax that needs to be paid. In the issuance of that permit, you pay half of that up front. At the completion of the permit, before the issuance of a CO, then the other half would have to be paid in order for that to happen.
And
So
actually, sorry,
go ahead.
what the inspector is actually speaking about, I have included on page 37. It's the new development impact tax ordinance.
That's
I
correct.
just wanted to point out to the board here under 19-4401 sub 2, 50% of the tax shall be payable at the time of the issuance of the permit, and the remaining half, 50%, shall be payable upon the issuance of a certification or certificate of final inspection. And do you know, Inspector, if that rest of the tax was paid upon the final inspection?
So no, it was not paid, and that's exactly what caused the permit to expire after X amount of time.
And just for the record, the violation, oh, please excuse me. Here we have the second violation for permitting, which has the interior alterations to the basement. Was that also explicitly covered within the scope of that expired building permit?
Yes, that is correct.
Mr. Cohen, could you go back to the floor plans that were shown? Just a brief review of those.
Those are on page 35. Or do you want the full floor plans or the close-up? The full floor plans are very dense, but the close-up is only a fraction of those plans.
These are the floor plans for the basement, right?
That is correct.
I think what would be helpful, if you could indicate and blow up that section that describes the work to take place in the basement. Sometimes the notes on the drawings themselves aren't sufficient. You may have to go to the,
Well, the city would propose, for the sake of the board,
Yeah.
the description under the building permit here explicitly says construction and alterations throughout basement. So that is part of the description of the permit.
okay.
And then on, if you'll excuse me, here on the upper corner, we see in the plans the removal of the garage doors, which applies to the other violation. So between those two descriptions on the plans and the permit, we have the two violations that are related to building permit.
Do they reference creating a separate living unit?
Inspector?
So yes, they do. That what they're calling it, what isn't approved is a exercise room is the approved use of that.
Where is that noted?
So it is center right here, center of the approved plans. It says support exercise room / gym.
Okay.
Could you go to the lower half now?
Oh, sorry. The lower half is here on these plans.
What are the rooms below the exercise room? Peter, I just want to confirm, I don't see a kitchen showing in those drawings. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Well, how difficult would it be with this giant exercise room to put a kitchen in one of the corners? That is not on the plans.
It would be very easy to add a electric plug-in stove, a microwave.
So what we see in these plans currently on screen, could that be easily converted into, say, a studio apartment with bathroom, bathtub, closet space, etc.?
Yes, very easily.
So, in essence, Inspector, they deviated from the plans themselves.
They're calling it a exercise room, you know, but yes, you could definitely say that.
Well, Inspector, how many exercise rooms do you know of that have their own separate mailbox,
I-
electrical panel,
wait, wait.
washer, dryer?
Right, I have never seen that. No, not at all. I really have tried to give this guy or this gentleman the benefit of the doubt, but no, I haven't ever seen that.
Thank you. I have no further questions for the inspector. and would-
I do.
Oh, yes.
The inspector, did you do an
Yes.
interior inspection of all those interior spaces?
Not all of the interior spaces, no. Some of the doors were closed and were unable to get in.
What about that garage area? Did you do an interior inspection of that space? The
So I was-
exercise room area?
So I was able to enter into that laundry room area. Go as soon as you enter into that side door, I was able to go down the first set of steps into that first little area, the laundry room area. I was not able to enter any of the floors or any of the rooms in the basement area. So I was not able to actually see this interior other than the interior, like I said, there's 3 panels, the 3 washer and dryers inside, the 3 water heaters.
But if I understand it, what we're looking at here is a drawing that was submitted as part of an application that ultimately was expired. So technically, this has never been approved, never had a final inspection, never obtained any kind of occupancy permit because the permit was never fully complied with.
I think it may be more accurate to say that there was a permit issued. We do have that in the record. But it
Correct.
was later marked expired for failure to provide the development impact tax. I don't believe the record shows anything more than that, but we do know that there is no permit now for what's shown on screen.
I do also want to add that these are the approved plans. So yes, these were approved by the city of Philadelphia.
And were there records of progress inspections, rough in, final, et cetera?
Yes, there were past inspections.
Okay. All right, Mr. Venner, do you have any cross-examination questions for the inspector, for Mr. Monte, rather?
Okay, I have a question. Actually, I will explain. This first time what we bought the home and
Okay,
what
wait
we-
a minute, sir. Because it's a little difficult to follow you, I just like you to speak directly into your microphone and just slow down a bit.
do you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Just, what is your question for, Mr. Monte?
I was trying to explain. It's like I don't have any
No,
question.
no explanation. I'm asking now, do you have a question for him based on his, testimony? You can give your presentation in a moment, but for right now, do you have any questions based on his testimony?
Okay, first, it's like everything is true, but I have only 2 water heater, not 3.
No,
but-
no, you're giving testimony. I'm asking you if you have a question for Mr. Monte.
No, it's like everything is good. We was walking
Okay,
with
all
that
right.
gentleman.
Okay, just a moment, sir, just a moment. Let's go back to the city, because the city has, I don't know if the city has completed its presentation.
Yes, the city would just move its packet into evidence. I would note for the record that I made a mistake in the descriptions under Exhibit C2 and C3. It's not the basement interior that was photographed, it is the shed interior.
Okay.
Other than that, the city then moves its packet into evidence, and I will stop sharing my screen.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Venner, it's now your opportunity to present the facts as you understand them.
Say it again.
is your opportunity to present your case.
Okay. First, we was built that building. We was ordered like for a couple companies. One company who was did the same removal the door and put the wall and all of the construction, and they was provide for us permits. That's first thing. Second thing, with the electrical issues, same like first one was expired because we was ordered some company with the electrical. They was came and never show up, and that's why we hired another company who was came and opened new one. So if, for example, even remembers like we was pass all of the inspection, all of inspector was came for building, for shed, for electrical, for all of the stuff. And I was paid for order it everyone. And if how I was spoke with the Stevens, he said I'm not pay something after the inspection. That's why was everything expired. But nobody tell me, because when inspector, all of inspector was came, just tell me you pass, and I'm not receiving any money. And even my constructor guys, nobody tell me what they have to do, because they always, there's everyone tell me, you have to pay for us. We take care about all of the permits, because they open the permits and they close the permits.
Well, some of the permits are in your name, at least one of them.
Yes, because that's always all of the permits was open on my name. I don't know how it's work, honestly.
Okay.
I'm just paid for all of the construction guys.
Okay, sir, just so I think would be helpful, do you live at that address?
Yes, we live, and however, that's right now everybody tells like that's three family. No, that's not three family, because we was make it that basement for like extra use property. I will explain. I live
No,
with
no. Just so that we're clear, because I just want to keep the record clear. It is your testimony that you and your family reside at that location.
Yes, everybody.
Which apartment do you live in?
I live on the second apartment and in a basement.
So which is that, number 2?
That's we call like yeah, first.
I didn't understand your answer. Do you live in number 2 or number 1?
1.
You live in number 1 and you live in the basement.
Yes.
How many people are in your family?
In my family, so on the second level live my father. He have a cancer.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay.
How many people in your family lives in unit 1 and the basement? How many people?
5.
5 people. And
Yes.
how many bedrooms?
On the first level, only 2 bedrooms.
And how many bedrooms in the basement?
One more.
One more. And you use that for sleeping in the basement?
Yes. And can I explain how we use?
No, not yet, because I just need to have the answers. Do you have do you lease out or rent out apartment number 2?
Before we was used, and I has the permits for rental, but
Do
right now,
you have a tenant? Does someone who rent apartment number 2 from you now?
right now not.
No?
No.
Is it vacant?
My father lived there.
Who?
My father.
Oh, your father lives in apartment number 2?
Yes, correct.
Okay, all right. Okay, now, just in terms of understanding things, the work that was done in the shed, the electrical work, etc., is that, how do you use that space?
That shed, we just make it for some barbecue or some stuff. And I show it for the gentleman. We was installed on the top panel, sunroof. How this called?
Okay, I didn't understand your response. Do you use it for someone to live in, or is it just for recreational use?
On it, it's like no, there is not possible live. There is open space. There's just it's like take a coffee on sometimes, or make it barbecue. That's all. There is no window, no door. If you see on the pictures, there's like just like this. That's
Okay.
what I put in the windows.
Okay, okay. Anything else you want to share with us?
Plus that shed, we was stand panel. We was try to install it, and that's why we prepare with the TV, with all of the stuff. We make a decoration, but the sun panel it's not working.
Okay.
Plus about the how this called charger for the Tesla. I was tell for electrical guys, and they was installed all of the stuff outside because even right now, that's not was possible. Just install it right now. That was did everything at same time, and electrical inspector was checking all of the stuff.
Okay, but you understand that your electrical permits expire.
That's electrical permits. First one is expired because even in Philadelphia city, I has the court with the first company, electrical company, who was came to us and they was trying to do something, and they didn't start it.
Okay.
And plus after that, if you see with the dates, we was ordered another electrical company who did the same job.
Okay.
They even installed that's 3 panels, 3 electrical stuff, and even this approved by PECO. So
Okay.
PECO was installed after all of the permit and inspection.
Okay, Mr. Venner, if you and your family are the only ones residing in that building, why do you have 3 different electrical meters, 3 different mailboxes?
Okay, I'll
Why do you
explain.
why do you have it set up like a 3-unit building?
I will explain because when we bought the home, I'm from Ukraine. I like it. Everything have to be straight and just back up on the future. I have a big family. Plus, that's why we take it all of the permits because you never know what's gonna happen on the future. If I will be old, if my kids will be have more kids, or maybe we together will be live in a one family. That's why I did when we bought the home. I did everything is straight.
Okay, but your problem is that you set it up as a 3-unit building without without approval.
That's we spoke with our architect, even on a plan on a city. We did basement, not like a third party for rental. We did for personal use, and even third one electrical panel. That's like a base electrical panel for use in a base like home electric. You know, I did everything on the future, and that's why I was taking the construction who was provide all of the permits.
Okay, Mr. Cohen, any cross-examination?
Nothing for Mr. Venner. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Cohen, I would ask though, in this instance, we're citing the violations on the violation notice itself, but you indicated that one of the violations had been complied?
Yes, the plumbing permit, which we didn't include in the packet, but if you see on, actually, hold on, I'll share this on my screen. On page 18 in the packet, you actually see a plumbing permit that's completed.
Yes.
We reviewed that permit. That applies to the lack of plumbing permit violation that was in the notice. So that's why that violation was marked complied or listed in error or administratively closed. I can't remember exactly which.
Now, but we do have 2 electrical permits that are noted as completed.
Yes, and that's why we reviewed the scope of those permits through Inspector Monti's testimony. One of those permits is for the installation of electrical service. The other is for interior wiring of the basement only. And actually, if we look at the notice of violation, if you permit me. We see here 3rd electrical panel installed. I've highlighted that in green because I believe that refers to the 3rd electrical panel in the basement, which should be covered by the basement interior wiring permit.
Yes.
But the electrical installed at the rear shed is not covered by that permit.
Okay. And so did these permits, the ones that are completed, receive final inspections?
The ones that were completed did. But just for the record, electrical permits receive final inspections from a third-party inspection agency.
Yeah.
But those are logged with LNI, and that's how they move a permit, electrical permit into completed status.
Right. So,
One question. Actually, that stored panel is not usable for a shed outside. That's for inside in a basement. How I say it, on a shed, I was shown that's a panel, sand panel. We was installed completely separate. That's how this called sun panel, correct? You remember I was shown
If
that's
I might, yeah, he's trying to say solar panels.
oh solar panel. Sorry, that's what we installed separate. That's why door panel would be installed. That's not using for outside. That's for inside. It's like on a that separate between first and second floor. Third one panel. What we did. That's exactly using for basement room. That's how we use.
okay.
And even that's outside shed, we was tried sun panel tried install it, but that's construction guys say, oh, you know, I don't know how to do. You have to extra blah blah blah, extra blah blah blah. I don't know what exactly, and this is just right now like a decoration.
Okay, but the issue is you still have outstanding electrical violations. Did you speak with the inspector to determine how you should resolve all of this?
Yes, I can. I will be do everything what you tell me. But how I say, I'm so stupid. My English not perfect. But when I was ordered electrical company,
Okay,
ordered all of the guys. I was paid. I remember. All of
Okay,
the
what I'm-
inspector was came. I was like do everything by the
okay,
law.
Mr. Venner, what I'm asking you, did you speak with, after all of this, did you speak with the LNI inspector to determine how you should respond? Was
When
there
he was
additional
came,
work you needed to do to deal with the violation notices?
after when I get violation, you mean?
Yeah, after you got the written violations, did you call anyone? Did you talk to anyone about
Yes,
how to?
yes,
What
I
did they
was
tell you
came.
to do? What did they
They
tell you to
was
do?
yes, I was came 3 times to the ILA. They always kick me out. After that, I was called to the lawyer. My lawyer was spoke with that guys and tried to explain like that's a whole violation. It's not like we did by permits, but they said, listen, if you don't like in something, you have to go in court.
Okay, but I'm asking you, did the inspector tell you what you needed to do to?
No.
So you
No.
didn't find, okay.
Nobody even don't want to talk with me.
I just find that hard to believe that you got kicked out of a LNI office, sir. Mr.
Uh,
Venner, I
I'm
find it
swear.
very hard to believe. If you
My friend,
went
I'm
there,
swear.
if you, excuse me, sir, if you went there with the intent to gather information to comply violation on your property, more than likely they would have complied. If you went there with another purpose to say you're not wrong and to possibly be argumentative, then I see that. But to go there to gather information, to sit with the supervisor to go over it, I just find it hard that they kicked you out, sir.
Do we know
I
if
will
Mr.
explain
Venner
how
went
this-
to the district office or to MSB to the concourse?
That's I'm not remember. From my home, that's like 10 minutes drive. That's
So
the
presumably to the
place.
district office.
Probably district office. Okay.
And how I say it, I was came, everybody, the inspector, it's like the inspector, that was lady, she was making all of the notice without me, they didn't ask me. When I came in that LAI, I was spoke with the manager came, take a look the notice, take a look what they was did by the inspection, all of permits. He check and look at this and say, listen, you have to talk with that lady who was give it for you. I don't care. We was talk with her by the email. Even I was called for the lawyer. This was took for us almost 1 month, and that's what I understand. After that, somebody was fired her. And after that, they say it's like, listen, go in a court. Because we cannot remove any violation. We cannot tell you what you have to do. You have to go by court. You know, for me, more easy.
Okay.
Just let me know how much I have to pay. I will be paid. If
Okay,
need some
all right, Mr.
inspector,
Bennett, I think we heard, I want to recall the inspector for a moment, if I may, because we can sort of wrap this up. Mr. Monte, what is your understanding of the current status of those violations and what's required to close them out?
So either they would have to have a new building permit issued, or the other thing you could do is have those building permits petitioned to be rolled back into issued status. But that development impact tax would have to be paid in order for those permits to be closed out.
Okay. Now, Mr. Bennett, were you aware that you owed some additional tax?
with some additional tax, I don't know, or I own or not, because when we get the, how this called, rental license, because after all of when everything was done, we get the rental license. So the rental license, if you take the rental license, first you have to pay off all of the tax and you have to show it the tax. So my lawyer who was take care about this stuff, they was telling me, it's like, what do you have to do and how much you have to pay? I paid everything what she said. So
Okay.
if
You have records to show that you paid that development tax?
how I said, I don't know.
Okay.
If I
Have
get
you
the rental license, so
Okay,
that's
wait,
my
wait,
point.
wait. Have you spoken to your lawyer, whoever represented you, and asked them, was that paid?
I don't know. But in my point,
I
if
heard
I
your
get
point.
the
I just want to, because we're really focusing in on, now, Mrs. Monte, what about the electrical permits that are violations that are still open? What's required to comply those?
They would have to have a final inspection, passed final inspection, all certifications uploaded in order for those permits to be completed.
Okay, now some of them have been completed, but how many are still open?
If I recall, I believe 2 were expired.
2 expired?
Yes.
But now, I think the record was indicating, Mr. Cohen, that some of them had been closed out, correct?
Well, the city's position is that the electrical panel portion of the electrical permit violation was addressed by that one electrical permit for interior wiring. It's the sheds.
Okay, now
That
there's
needs to have a
testimony,
separate permit.
yeah, the testimony from the appellant is that was for a solar application that's not been connected.
Well, I mean, we can clearly see there's lights, there's interior
Understood.
heater, et cetera, in the sheds. There
Power
does need
has
to
been
be-
run to the shed.
Exactly, so there does need to be some permit for that.
Okay, and running power to the shed was not part of any of the electrical permit applications.
And it,
That,
oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, was that for me or you?
It's for the witness, you.
I'm sorry, I apologize. No, that the shed, nothing on the shed was in the approved scope of work. So no electrical work was approved for the sheds, either of the sheds.
Okay, and so to satisfy that violation, he would have to get someone to final inspection and to close that out.
For the interior one, yes. Like I said,
Yes.
for the interior, if for the violations of the shed electric, they would need an electrical permit with past inspections.
Okay.
Were the sheds actually ever approved in the installation of the sheds?
I would just say that that's outside the scope of this NOV, but that may be addressed later.
I have a question. Inspector Monte, what would be more simple for him to roll back the permits or acquire new ones?
I would think in this case to roll back these permits.
So that would include the improvement tax, correct?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Venner,
yes.
do you understand what the inspector just said?
Yes, we were spoke even before, but I have a question right now. How I have to do like for that, like or pay for this renewal, or how I have to get again that's permits? I have to call for same company, electrical guys who was did, or I have to hire somebody else and fix this stuff. How is have to be work?
Yeah, I think that's your choice. It's up to you. Your You should talk to the electrical company that you use and let them know that you have these violations. Do they know about the violations?
I don't know. Nobody knows.
Now,
Like,
did you tell them that you got these
no,
violations?
no, I didn't tell nobody
You should tell
because
them that you have these violations and see what kind of advice they would give you to take care of it.
okay, I understand. So I have to right now fix the violation with the
Well, you have
electric.
to respond to all the violations. So I can't give you advice. That's not my role. But you have to respond to the violations. Now, you should talk to the contractors whom you hired to do the work and say to them, I have these violations. What do you need? I need you to fix this.
But
They should
even
know that.
yeah, but even the door what we close, that's was by that inspector was checked and that was proven
I didn't understand what you just said.
in the basement. The wall, what we put the wall, remove the garage and put the wall.
Yeah.
That was like approved and inspected by inspector.
Yes.
So again, I have to call to inspector, take a look, same wall.
No. You have violations because the building permit expired. You have to talk to your builder and say, hey, this expired, so I need you to do what's necessary to fix that, to roll the permit back. You may require to spend more, to pay the balance of that tax that's outstanding, but you work with your builder to fix that.
Uh-huh, okay.
Because you have plans. The plans clearly show you building that wall. Your plans, you had approved plans. So you were approved, but you didn't, your contractor didn't complete the paperwork end of things.
Okay, I will be talk. I will
Okay,
be talk
in the
about-
meantime, we have this violation case in front of us. You submitted an appeal. We now have to vote on your case. Mr. Cohen, any final comments you'd like to make?
Just briefly, I
Yes.
think the board very well understands the need for permits and completing the permitting process. As it applies to use permit, a change in use, specifically an increase in the number of dwelling units in a property, it's very important to get that certificate of occupancy at the end of the use and building permit approval process, because that's what determines that there's sufficient fire egresses. If the building needs a fire alarm system, that will be brought up before a CO will be issued. All of those fire safety issues for the occupants of a building are addressed through the permitting process. So completing that process and being honest about how many units are actually at a property is vitally important to the safety of the people living there. And if it's Mr. Venner's family living there, then I'm sure he would agree it is very important to get that, make sure that is a safe building to occupy. As to the issue of a rental license, that's not really before the board. But as to the issue of responsibility for getting the building permit rolled back and reinstated, yes, there is a potential claim that Mr. Venher might bring against the contractor for failing to comply or complete the permitting process in the first place. That is a separate private claim to be brought between two private parties. The code is very clear that a property owner is responsible for completing the permitting process. And if your contractor has broken the terms of your contract, that's something to be pursued outside of this room. So with that, the city enters its packet into evidence. I think I've already done that, but the
Yeah,
city
no,
then,
yeah.
on its packet and the testimony, urges the board to vote city affirmed.
Thank you very much. We will now call for the board on number 33, HA 2024-001 607 4238 Cataract Drive, Ihor, Venher, City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
Mr. Venher, the city's position prevails. You lost your appeal. You may appeal our decision. If you need information as to how to appeal our decision, check with the board administrator and they will give you information you need in order to pursue an appeal. Thank you very much, sir, for your participation and have a good afternoon. The witnesses are excused.
Thank you.
Thank you, members of the board. May I please be excused
Yes.
as well?
Yes, sir. We need,
Have a lovely afternoon.
thank you. We have one final matter, I think.
Calling your attention, sir, to number 29, Appeal ending 1572-2655 South Juniper Street.
Okay, who's representing the city in this matter?
Good afternoon, Kristen Patchell for the city.
And good
Okay, we have
afternoon, Joseph
witness, Ms.
Pical on
Paschal.
behalf of the appellant.
Now, I'm
Okay.
asking Ms. Paschal if she has a witness.
Yes, Chairman Woodson, Inspector Tolbert is present in the room.
Okay, Inspector, would you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth to help you God? All right, thank you very much. Mr. Vaccaro, do you have any witnesses for us today?
Yes, I have Christian Palamon, if he could turn on his camera and unmute himself.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, sir, if you raise your right hand to be sworn, do you swear or affirm the testimony you give be the truth to help you God?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Let's proceed. Ms. Patchell?
Yes. Good afternoon, Inspector Tolbert. And can you just speak directly into the
Yeah, you need to
mic?
turn that microphone on, yes.
It's on. Just speak loudly so the
And pull it
stenographer
up
can
close to
hear.
you.
Where are you employed?
License and inspection,
And what is your position there?
code enforcement inspector.
I'm sorry, this is the reporter. I am having a little difficulty hearing. Could I have the inspector's full name again, please?
Okay, Inspector, please.
Yolanda Tolbert.
Okay, please proceed.
Okay, and you testified that you are a code enforcement inspector, correct?
Yes,
As part of your duties, are you familiar with a case file for 2655 South Juniper Street?
yes,
Okay. And before I proceed, members of the board, I did briefly want to raise an issue for your attention. This appeal was filed for an intent to cease. However, the underlying notice of violation was never appealed, and that was issued in October of 2023. So the city would argue that this scope of this appeal should be limited to the intent to cease rather than the underlying violations themselves, which of course there will be some foundation laid, but given the fact that they were never appealed, the city does not think that those violations themselves should be at issue in this hearing.
Okay, any immediate response to that, Mr. Vaccaro?
No, very briefly, the appeal was with respect to the notice of intent to cease. As I had mentioned earlier in the earlier arguments, earlier in this session, my client, he has already complied. The vast majority of these violations, two of them, I believe, are still pending review with respect to the certificate of occupancy for the second floor. The sidewalk cafe license, that's still in progress. And the balance of these is already complied. I believe he just needs to have another re-inspection done of the premises so that the inspector can look at that junction box.
Okay, so I just wanted to be clear though, so there's no disagreement as in terms of this appeal today. It's not of the underlying violation, we're really appealing the intent to cease itself.
Correct.
Okay, all right, thank you. That's what I just
Yeah.
need to understand. Okay, all right, Ms. Patchell, let's proceed.
Yes, Chairman Woodson, permission to share my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Inspector Tolbert, do you recognize what you're looking at on the screen?
yes,
And is this the initial notice of violation?
yes.
And who was the responsible party this was issued to?
JJJCD LLC,
Okay. And what was the initial date of this notice?
October 26, 2023.
And just drawing your attention to the date actually up in this upper corner, is that October 27th, 2023?
That's the day it went out.
Okay. And was there a correct by date that was issued?
Yes, November 30, 2023.
Okay. And Inspector, are these notices of violation kept in the ordinary course of business?
Yes,
And where are they stored?
in the system.
And is that the Eclipse system?
Yes,
Okay. Now, Inspector, I just want to highlight the violations that are currently still open. So I'll direct your attention to the second violation on the first page. Can you describe for the members of the board what violation was issued?
obtained zoning for Avenue Steak and Pizza, Also obtain a CO for Avenue Steaks and Pizza, as well as the second floor, which is being used as a prep area, office, and storage.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. The second violation, that is still at issue, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now I want to direct your attention to the third violation on this page. What is this violation?
Obtain a sidewalk cafe license.
Okay, and I want to direct your attention specifically to the condition in violation. What, if anything, does that say?
It means to remove the table and chairs from the sidewalk.
Okay, and that would have complied this violation, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, now Inspector Tolbert, I'm gonna skip down to the fourth page of this notice. And I'd just like to direct your attention to the last fire code violation on the screen. Do you see that?
Yes.
And what is that violation?
Remove freezer next to the hot water tank.
And is that still in violation?
Yes, it's still stuff next to the hot water tank.
Okay. And just lastly, Inspector, what is the last violation on this notice of violation?
To cover or seal all open junction boxes and missing light switch plate.
Okay, and that is still at issue as well, correct?
Yes, the light switch plate is still missing.
Were there photos taken documenting these violations in October of 2023?
Yes,
Would you recognize them if you saw them?
yes.
Moving on to what has been marked as City Exhibit 2. Inspector, can you briefly tell us what we're looking at here?
Basically, there's a lot of storage in front of the fire alarm panel and electric panels, as well as unsecured cylinders.
Continuing to the second photograph,
That's the large freezer next to the hot water tank.
and continuing to the third photograph, what is it that we're looking at here?
That's the table chairs that's on the sidewalk.
Okay, and is this the sidewalk, is this what would be necessary for a sidewalk license?
Yes,
Okay. And continuing to the fourth page, or fourth picture rather?
that's the picture outside of the property.
Okay, and is this the restaurant in question?
Yes,
Avenue Steaks and Pizza?
yes.
Okay. Continuing to the fifth photograph, what is it that we're looking at here?
That's the open junction box in the basement.
And then the sixth photograph,
That's the second floor.
and that's where an updated CO is necessary, is that correct?
Yes,
And can you describe what the seventh photograph shows,
that's the office on the second floor.
which also requires an updated CO?
Yes,
And then lastly, what is this photograph?
that's the prep area on
Oh.
the second floor.
Okay. Inspector, was a final notice of violation sent out in December of 2023?
Yes,
Would you recognize this?
yes,
I'm displaying City Exhibit 3. Do you recognize what's on screen?
yes,
Was this notice of violation issued to the same responsible party?
yes.
And what was the date of the notice?
December 28, 2023.
Okay. And were the same violations issued?
Yes,
And were there photographs taken at this time documenting the violations?
yes,
I'm going to direct your attention to what has been pre-marked as City Exhibit 4. Do you recognize what's on screen there?
that's the property.
Okay, and safe to say that there's a timestamp indicating this was taken in December of 2023?
Yes,
Do you still see the presence of the sidewalk cafe?
yes,
Okay, thank you. And then just continuing to the second page, does this also show the hot water tank?
yes,
Okay, and that's next to the washer, correct?
yes.
Now, Inspector, did you yourself go out to this property in April of 2024?
From that picture right there?
No, did you issue an intent to cease?
Yes,
And was that in April of 2024?
yes,
Would you recognize that if you saw it?
yes,
And I'm going to scroll down at this point to what has been marked as City Exhibit 6. Do you recognize what's on screen, Inspector?
yes.
Okay, and what is this?
Notice of intent to cease operations in order,
And what was the date?
April 18, 2024.
And who was the responsible party?
JJJCD LLC.
Okay, and Inspector, I'd like to direct your attention to the section of this notice that says corrections needed. What, if anything, did you put in the corrections needed?
To obtain a license or remove table and chairs from the sidewalk.
Okay, and when you say obtain a license, you mean a sidewalk cafe license, correct?
Yes,
And how does one go about obtaining that?
they will log into the Eclipse system and follow the process for obtaining a license.
Okay, and is that governed by the streets department?
Yes, it goes through them first and then it comes over to license and inspection.
Okay. And in conjunction with issuing this notice, did you also take photographs in April of 2024?
Just on the outside of the property,
And would you
that we drop it off to them.
would you recognize that if you saw it?
Yes,
Okay. Scrolling back up to page 27. Do you recognize that, Inspector?
yes,
Is that the outside of the property?
yes,
The sidewalk cafe was still in effect, correct?
that's correct.
Okay, and I'd like to just direct your attention to what has been page 31. Do you recognize that photograph?
Yes, that's the notice that we put into, that was dropped off at the property in the window.
Okay, so this notice of intent resulted in an appeal, correct?
Yes,
And did you yourself go back out to the property last week?
yes,
Did you take more photographs?
yes,
Would you recognize them if you saw them?
yes.
Turning your attention to what has been pre-marked City Exhibit 5. Do you recognize that, Inspector?
Yes,
What is it that we're looking at?
that's the picture of the property with the tables and chairs still out there.
Okay, and do these tables and chairs cause a hindrance to any passersby?
Yes,
And do you recognize the second photograph, Inspector?
yes, that's a closer look on the inside.
And did you take this recently?
Yes,
Okay, as in last week?
yes,
And Inspector, fair to say that the sidewalk cafe takes up almost all of the sidewalk, if not all of the sidewalk?
yes.
And has that sidewalk cafe license been granted as of today?
Not as yet.
Okay, and has the updated certificate of occupancy been updated for the second floor or granted for the second floor?
Not as of yet.
Okay. And Inspector, where is the department seeking to cease?
We're seeking to cease the sidewalk for them to remove the tables and chairs.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have any further questions.
Thank you. Mr. Vaccaro, any cross?
Yes, please, thank you. Ms. Tolbert, I'm going to ask you, when was the last time that you went to the property?
Last week,
Okay, and when you went to the property, did you check the open junction box?
yes, that one was covered.
That was covered? And you are aware that the zoning board had granted the variance for the pizzeria to operate as of August 26th of 24. Would you agree with that or disagree?
I am not aware of that.
Okay. And would you disagree with the application that my client had put in for the certificate of occupancy for the second floor? That has the application number A as in Alpha, P as in Paul, 2025 0029 002094. Are you aware of that?
No,
Yeah.
And with respect,
Withdraw. I didn't think he finished the question.
I'm sorry. With respect to the application that my client put in for the sidewalk cafe license, would you disagree that it's still pending with the city and it bears number S as in Sam, R as in robot, 2025 028245?
I do see that in the system, but it just was filed last week.
So
What
it's
date, do
still-
you know what date that was found? Ms. Tolbert, sorry to intrude on your cross, but I
It's
just want to
okay.
know the date.
I believe it was March the 12th, I believe, or of this year, 2025.
Okay, all right, sorry, please continue, Mr. Vaccaro.
That's okay, thank you very much. And the balance of the violations that were initially issued by you in October 27 of 23, they've been complied, correct?
They are all not compliant.
I didn't say all of them. I said the balance of the violations have been complied, correct?
Tell me how you're using the word balance.
Sure.
Wow.
Putting aside the sidewalk cafe that's pending, putting aside the CO for the second floor that's still pending, the rest of the violations have been complied, correct?
No, it's 4 outstanding, so that's why I didn't understand about the word balance.
So which are the 4 that are outstanding?
The CO, sidewalk, cafe, you have the unapproved conditions, because there's still a light switch cover that's not done. And the clearance to the hot water tank, there's still storage over there. So that's 4.
Did you see the storage last
Yes, I
week
did.
when you went
Yes, I
there?
did. Yes, and I explained to the guy that you can't have the bikes and things next to the hot water tank. I told him that when I was there.
When was that? Last week?
The last time I was there, yes.
And the light switch, you said that
I told him that he need to replace that cover, so I cannot comply that violation until it's done.
I understand. How long
Anything
has
else,
that
Mr. Vaccaro?
Yes. How long has there been a pizzeria at that spot?
Objection,
Mr.
relevance,
What's the basis of the objection?
relevance.
Yeah, Mr. Vaccaro, I don't think we're here to determine whether or not it should be there or not, because you noted for the record that zoning has authorized the pizzeria. So please move on. That's sustained.
Okay, how long are you aware? Let me rephrase the question. How long have the tables and chairs been on that sidewalk? For how long?
When I came there for inspection back in October 2023, that's when I
Are you-
went to the property.
Are you aware of a long history of those tables being there? Going back to the
wouldn't be aware of
70s?
that. Only time I was out there, the first time was October 2023.
Understood. And the second notice that was issued on 12/28 of 23, authored by Inspector Drake Siler, Siler, and I believe he's the gentleman that took that second group of photographs that you had testified to. Where is he?
He has passed, sir. He's no
I'm
longer
so-
with us.
I'm sorry to hear that. Do you know when he had passed?
Objection, relevance.
Yeah, no, Mr. Vaccaro, I'm not sure where you're headed with this, so I'm going to sustain the objection. Please move on.
All right, at this point, then, I have no further questions of this
Okay.
witness. I thank you for your
Thank you.
time.
Thank you. Any additional witnesses, Ms. Patchell?
I have no witnesses. The city would just mark and move C1 through C6 into the record.
So moved. Mr.
Okay.
Vaccaro, your opportunity to put on your matter, your case?
Thank you. I have Christian Palamone, if he could unmute himself,
Okay.
Yep.
and you've already been sworn in. So, Mr. Palamone, what is your relationship to JJJCD LLC?
Sole owner.
You're the sole owner?
Yes.
And how long have you been operating at that spot?
I took over with my LLC ownership on January 2023.
Okay. And how long has there been a pizzeria at that spot?
I would say since at least since the 70s.
If I may share my screen.
Yes.
Does everybody see an old photograph with a sign that says Oregon Steaks?
Yes. If you could
Okay.
scroll it up a bit, we can get a better view of it.
Or I could zoom in on it. It's a one-page. Is
Yeah,
that
no, but
okay?
the
Can
other-
you see?
The other direction.
Oh, zoom out?
Yes,
How's that?
a little bit more.
A little bit more? Sure.
Yep.
How's that?
It didn't change. As we move out, just scroll out just a bit more.
Sure. How's that?
Okay, and just move it up a bit because we only see a portion of the image.
Sure. Okay. I can't
Okay.
make it go up anymore because it's zoomed
Okay,
out so far.
That's fine. I'm viewing it from the screen behind I can now see it. Okay, on the screen.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's the best I can do.
Okay. That's
Okay.
fine. Thank you. Please
Thank you.
proceed.
Mr. Palamone, do you recognize that photo?
Yes.
And what is it? Tell the board what it is.
That's what the original restaurant used to look like back then, about 50 years ago. It was the original Oregon Steaks location.
And that's your location right now, correct?
Correct.
And when was this? Back in the 70s?
Yeah, it was the 70s. Yep.
Okay, and it appears that there's this awning covering the whole sidewalk going up to the curb, apparently with what appear to be picnic tables if you look in, right?
Yes.
So it's basically the same, you're basically operating and trying to legalize the same setup that's been going on at this location going back to the 70s, correct?
Correct.
Okay. What else can you tell the board with respect to the zoning? We got the zoning variance granted last August, correct?
Correct.
Were you able to apply for or get a certificate of occupancy without zoning?
No, I had to get the zone for, I had to get zoned first.
So once you got zoning, then what did you do?
Once we got zoning, my architect told me that now we'll go for the CO. So we got that. He had thought that they put in for the first and second floor. The CO came back only for the first floor. And then the next step we talked about was the getting the sidewalk cafe legalized. That was the last thing we were going to do.
And that's still in progress, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And all the other violations like the fire extinguishers, the crates and the boxes and the shelving, have you taken care of all that?
Yeah, everything could be complied today. The inspector saw a bicycle next to the hot water tank, which was moved. And we did pay to get that hot water tank moved. It's in a different spot now. It's not leaning on that refrigerator, deep freezer anymore. So, I figured we had done everything, and I had done everything a couple of months after that. Drake Seiler had come out, and I had emailed him on January 24th, 2024, to come out and re-inspect that I had cleaned most of this stuff up. Unfortunately, I found out that he had passed, so that obviously the email never got answered. And then, kind of just time just passes, and you just keep, working on the business and everything. And, the stuff was still outstanding, but it was fixed. So, that's on me. I guess I should have just kept reaching out to someone else or whatever, but I definitely tried to fix everything. And I believe as of today, everything's fixed besides, sidewalk, cafe, CO, second floor, and I think that's it.
And the cover to the electric box, right?
Yeah, there's a light switch in the basement. Yeah, we had to put a cover on, so like a outlet cover.
And the last time you saw Miss Tolbert, the lady who's testifying on the screen in the blue shirt with the yellow sleeves, that's the inspector that came to your spot?
Yeah, she came out like last week, and then another inspector, which I don't have his name in front of me, he came out after her. And he also like checked off some things. So, I figured everything would get, cleared up, that we would at least be compliant besides whatever's in progress right now.
Okay. I don't have any other questions for Mr. Palamone. I'll tender him for cross-examination.
Okay, Ms. Pancho?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Your counsel had referenced the SR permit, which is your application for the sidewalk cafe license. You're familiar with that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Why didn't you apply for that prior to March of 2025?
Honestly, just I thought it was in progress. That was the next step after the CO. I mean, as much as I do want to be compliant, I'm very enveloped in like the everyday business, and I was leaning on my, my people that were doing this, and I just thought it was in progress already. So that's it. That's the only answer I have.
Are you aware that the application was only fully completed last Friday, the 21st?
Yeah, yeah. Well, now, yeah, I was aware, since last week, I'm aware that it wasn't in and that they had it, they still, now they just completed the drawings and, yeah, so I'm aware, yeah, that it just went in.
Okay, you received the intent to cease back in April of 2024, correct?
Correct.
And on that intent to cease is the listed corrective action of potentially removing the sidewalk cafe lights or the sidewalk cafe, like removing the tables and chairs, correct?
Correct.
Why didn't you just do that?
I thought that when we submitted the appeal, that until that was heard, that we can keep everything how it was. That's what I thought.
Okay, but fair to say you could have complied this by removing everything until you received the sidewalk cafe license, correct?
Correct.
I don't have anything further.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions for this witness?
I have a question. You said that you thought the SR application was in progress. Were you the one who applied, or was it your architect or your attorney?
Yeah, my architect, I don't do none of that stuff. I'm, leaning on other people. I'm more of like hands-on with the business. I don't really, not too familiar with that stuff.
So you're hands-on your operation, but yet the city attorney asked why you didn't just remove the tables and chairs and then apply, which would have kept you in compliance.
Well, it was my understanding that the point of the appeal was to keep them on the sidewalk until the appeal was heard.
When did you apply for the appeal?
I would have to ask my counsel. I'm not sure.
Thank you.
Find that for you. I'm looking.
I can stipulate that the paperwork was filled out April 25th, 2024.
Yes,
April
that's
20
when it was received by LNI, April
Okay.
25th to 24th.
Okay.
And I think it was submitted the 23rd.
Oh, it was submitted the 23rd?
Looks like that's when you signed it.
Okay.
Okay, Blair received it. I mean, Ellen and I received the appeal. Okay, on the 25th of 2024.
Right, that's the stamp I'm seeing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Palamo, I'm curious, what's the impact of removing those tables and those picnic tables on your business?
I mean, it would be tough, especially in the spring and summertime. They're usually full of people. They come over from the water ice stand. They sit there. They take our food, sit there. We have a TV. They watch the games. So it would be a really big hassle and maybe business impacting if we had to move these. And
Okay,
yeah,
so needless to say, from your perspective, these tables and chairs are important for your business, correct?
yeah, very important.
Okay. Given the city had issued you a written warning of cease operations, meaning that they were going to take them away or force you to take them away, don't you think that requires some of your attention?
Like with my understanding, I gave it my attention. I got with the lawyer and I told him that they came and then he said, we'll file an appeal. And I didn't know, I thought that's the process. I didn't know there was anything else that I could do.
We're here almost a year later and they still haven't been moved.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else from anyone?
Yes, I have a question. I see the picture from 1970s, and I see the pictures that the department has provided to us. Is it possible to walk on, it's not on Juniper Street, the street that we're seeing, that's not Juniper Street, is it, Mr. Pallamore?
Oregon
What's-
Avenue.
That's Oregon Avenue. Is it possible to walk on the sidewalk on Oregon Avenue past your restaurant, or do you have to walk out on the street?
No, I mean, especially if I push the benches up as far as they could go towards the curb, I mean, you have plenty of space, plenty for
If you
wheelchairs,
push,
bicycles.
if you push them, but right now, today, if I went to your restaurant and walked on Oregon Avenue, would I be able to walk on Oregon Avenue without having to go onto the street?
Yes, 100%.
If I could show you another photo that could answer that question, or that could corroborate Mr. Palamone's answer to your question, Mr. Pincus. Do you see that?
I do.
Okay, Mr. Palamone,
Yes,
is this a view of the sidewalk looking east on Oregon Avenue?
yes,
Okay. You have the picnic tables off to the
Yes.
right side with the order count, with the counter where you order. And there's even a
Correct.
customer over there, right?
Just, Mr. Vaccaro, I want to ask Mr. Palmer, the improvements that were made to the sidewalk canopy, the electrical lights, the overhang, was that made by him or the prior owner?
that was done by the prior owners prior to the opening in 2021.
Okay.
I guess I have a question for the inspector. Does this constitute an unsafe condition per the requirements of the department?
Well, that would be for the streets department, because that's the right of way.
So it may or may not be unsafe, but they needed to have a license in order to have this set up the way they've set it up.
Yes.
If I may, Inspector, if, in addition to that, there's a certain requirement from Streets Department in terms of the sidewalk, in terms of footage that's needed, correct? And they
That's
don't
correct.
comply with this, correct?
That's correct.
As we see in the picture, there shows space, but that space does not comply with the footage that's needed for a sidewalk.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I will invite Mr. Vaccaro and of course, Ms. Patchell to provide any closing arguments that they may have before we call a vote on this matter. Mr. Vaccaro?
Thank you. And I thank the board for considering the circumstances that my client finds himself in. He is almost in full compliance with the initial violations that were issued. He's already put in the application for the CO for the second floor. He's put in the application for the sidewalk cafe license, and we anticipate that the city will issue these final two outstanding permits, and he should be in full compliance after the next inspection that he'll have scheduled, once he takes care of that light switch. If you look at the history of the property, there's always been a pizzeria there. There's always been picnic tables on the sidewalk. There's always been that canopy that covers the sidewalk. Mr. Palamone, he's just been operating this spot as it's always been operated for many, many owners that have predated him, going all the way back to the 70s, if not even before. Does that excuse the fact that he was not in full compliance? No. But when he learned that he was in violation, he started taking the appropriate steps to get himself into compliance. So we're asking the board for an opportunity to stay the cease operations order that was most recently issued in April of 24. As we had discussed earlier in these proceedings, we never appealed the underlying violations. Mr. Palamone was always taking the appropriate steps to get himself into compliance with the underlying violations. It's only when the city was attempting to shut down his livelihood that he had taken action by retaining me to file this appeal. And now that we're almost there with full compliance, with an anticipated sidewalk cafe permit, with an anticipated CO, all we need is that reasonable amount of time to allow Mr. Palomone to be in full compliance, and we should be able to keep rolling. That's what we're asking for.
Thank you. Ms.
Thank you.
Patchell?
So members of the board, first, this LLC and specifically Mr. Palomone have been operating an illegal sidewalk cafe since at least October 2023 when they were initially cited. Furthermore, when the L&I went out in April 2024 and issued the notice of intent to cease, this was about 6 months after they already received the initial notice of violation. And the corrections needed that are specified on the notice are clear. Obtain a sidewalk cafe license or remove the tables and chairs from the sidewalk. Yet here we are 11 months later in March of 2025, and Mr. Palomone has admitted that he still has not removed these tables or chairs. We don't know if Streets is going to grant this sidewalk cafe license. It'll be up to their review, but frankly, as we've seen and as there's been testimony, this sidewalk cafe license takes up the majority of the sidewalk on Oregon Avenue. So frankly, we don't know if he's almost in compliance. But what we do know is that Mr. Palomone could have done this when he first appealed the notice of intent to cease back in April. He didn't do that. He didn't start to get the sidewalk cafe license process in place until last week. The city would argue that he has had ample time to comply these violations. And furthermore, I would correct Mr. Vaccaro's assertion that the city's coming after his livelihood. We're not asking to cease the entire business. We're asking to cease the sidewalk cafe. There's a door to this pizza shop. People can go in and buy their pizzas and cheesesteaks and whatever, but they should have to remove the tables and chairs. There are rules to how these things operate. They've been flouting them for quite some time. We'd ask that you affirm the intent to cease.
If I may briefly respond, there was
Thank
no
you.
testimony about the width of the sidewalk and how much of the sidewalk is taken up. That was a comment by one of the members of the board.
And I didn't say that there was any testimony. I said that we don't know if Streets will approve this or not based on these conditions.
Right.
There's no indoor dining.
Oh,
It's
wait a
just
minute,
a
sir. Mr. Palomone, you don't get to do that.
That's okay.
That's why you have an attorney. Okay, alrighty. We are at this point now of, I don't believe there are any additional requests for information from the board itself. So we will now poll the board regarding HA 2024-001572, 2655 South Juniper Street, JJJCD LLC, city affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
Thank you very much. The city's position prevails.
if I
As you're
can-
aware, Mr. Vaccaro, you may appeal our decision. And so we thank you for your participation today. Have a good afternoon.
Mr. Woodson and members of the board, if I could ask the board to at least stay enforcement of the decision for 60, 90 days?
The city objects.
The city is opposed to that. At this point, I vote as is recorded stands. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, have a good day.
That concludes my business. Have a nice
Okay,
night.
you're excused.
Likewise.
Witnesses are
Thank
excused.
you.
Thank you, Inspector.
Does that
Colbert.
conclude our hearing list for today?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Members of the
Thank
board,
you
I have
very
a,
much. Have a good day.
members of the board, I have a question.
I'm sorry, who are you, sir?
I am Daryl Allen. I am here in reference to HA 2024-1612. I heard it mentioned earlier that I believe the
What
city.
address is that? And
That is
who's the appellant?
2311 North Gratz Street.
Wait a minute, just 2311 North Gratz?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
I heard counsel from the city earlier say that it was mute, I believe.
Yes.
I need a layman's layman's understanding what that means.
Are you an attorney?
No, I'm not. I'm the
Oh.
property owner, yes.
Okay, you call the administrator's office.
Okay.
On the notice, decision notice, there's a number there. They will, you can call them and they will provide you whatever information you need in terms of what moot or moot compliant reference. And so, but for today, it's resolved.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you.
You're
All
welcome.
right, bye-bye.
You need to Zoom any longer, Matt?